now 5:30, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the February 8th, 2023 Downtown Development Board meeting. Also, can you please silence your phones and cease any private conversations? And I'd like to remind all the members to lean forward and speak loudly so we can all be heard. We're going to start with board and ex officio member introductions. Off to my left.
Shahab Emrani.
Chiara Zaniboni.
Keenan Kinsel.
Caitlin Jammo.
Terry Novitsky.
Ray Casano.
Festus Pobeni.
Lena Teixeira.
Mark Bunker.
All right. First order of business is item 2.1, the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there any corrections that would like to be requested?
I would move to approve the January 11th, 2023 DDB minutes.
I second it.
We have a motion by Caitlin, a second by Ray. Any discussion from the board? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Next item, citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. So before we start, please know that comments must be limited to matters within the DDB district and matters that the DDB can actually act upon. So items on the agenda will be held until the agenda item is actually called out. So speakers, are there any speakers that want to speak first of all? Perfect. You must identify yourself, even though we know you, and for the record, and you have a time of 3 minutes.
Great, it's going to be short. I'm Carolyn Bradham with Carolyn's Kitchen, and I just wanted to thank you for helping to sponsor some of the events that have been taking place down at the Garden Street intersection with Cleveland. I recently moved from the 400 block and am now in the 600 block, and it's been really phenomenal to have that park being used, to have the different types of venues that are going on. And I know that this committee has been very involved in helping to fund some of those activities, and I just wanted to let you know that it's having a very positive impact on that end of the street. That's all I have to say.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, moving right along. New business, Ms. Lopez.
Good evening, Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. The item that we have before you today is to request approval of the December 2022 financial statement for filing. The funds spent in the month of December were $401,904.85. Your agenda item summarizes all of the expenditures for the month, and your ending balance, again, in December, was $319,288.45. I will remind you that these numbers will be very different from when we come back next month, because in January you did have a budget amendment. We brought in some more money, so next month these numbers will look very different. Any questions?
For the better or worse?
Oh, for the better. We brought in more money. It's great.
Right.
In anticipation of the funding requests, do you have a rough number that we're working with in terms of unallocated for special events?
I can get you that number before Howard comes up to talk. I don't have it with me at the current moment, but yes, I can do that for you.
Any other board questions?
No, sir.
Any citizen comments? Well, would you like your answer first, or are we ready for a motion?
Nope. I'll go ahead and move to adopt the financial statement.
A second.
Okay, great. Motion by Caitlin, a second by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Next item, Howard, I believe.
Good evening, Board. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. Before we go into the funding request, I want to preface a conversation that we have 2 grant requesters here tonight to present to you all for a funding request. But they also had an event that took place last year, one in November, another one in December. And part of the process is that before we traditionally allow people to come in and present to you all, they have to report on their event. But in January, we had our board meeting where we did the swearing-in ceremony for the new board member, Kiara, as well as we did a change in the policy. So in the January meeting, we did not have any reports. So on that note, we wanted to allow them their time to come in and present to you all first. And then after that's completed, then we'll go into the funding request. And this is for the Clearwater Jazz holiday event, as well as for the Pinellas Girl Game. So those are the two that we'll report out first, and then we'll go into their funding request. So with that, I would like to call up Steve Weinberger, the president for Clearwater Jazz Holiday, to do the report on their Wonderlust series.
Thanks, Howard. Go ahead, Linda. This is just last year for right now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Steve Weinberger, CEO of Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. I'm here tonight, first to talk about last year and next to talk about this year. So I want to thank the DDB for its continued support of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Music Series that you will recall we started together during the pandemic. We have been one of a few organizers that have really activated downtown Clearwater in a really challenging time, that brought the community together in a safe way and supported a lot of musicians, and that was ongoing. So when we started it in 2020, we did 5 events there. And then in 2021, we did 9 events in Station Square Park. And last year, you supported a plan for 4 events. What was cool about last year is we were able to loosen some of the restrictions that we had in place from the pandemic. So we were able to have people come in more of a general admission type of feel, but we also retained some element of a bistro-style seating. We were able to comp a lot of tickets to outreach partners that we had and create a lot of goodwill in the music community together. So on top of that, we had more merchants selling food at our events and touch-pointing the attendees that were there, which I think is great for downtown restaurants. Clear Sky, Pub 530, Caroline's Kitchen, and there were some others. So it's just really great that we were able to pull this off together. I want to thank you very much for that good support.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. So again, Howard Smith, being an assistant administrator for the Community Redevelopment Agency. So the purpose of this item is to request approval for the Clearwater Jazz Holiday funding request to produce 2 events. And for the purpose of understanding, the 2 events are going to be Part A and Part B, although it is one funding request. So for the Part A, that's going to be the Clearwater Jazz Holiday 44th Downtown Activation, and we have the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Experience, which will be Part B. So for Part A, Clearwater Jazz Holiday 44th Downtown Activation will take place on October 21st and October 22nd of 2023 in the green space area of Coachman Park, in addition to Cleveland Street all the way back down to Station Square Park. So this is an inclusive event, which is a pre-show before the event that actually happens at the amphitheater. And with that, there will be music that will be taking place in Station Square Park, along Cleveland Street, and then also in the green space. And if you look at the monitor of the green space, this is the amphitheater, this is the included area, the green space along here. So for the daytime concert, it will take place from noon to 4:30 p.m. and it serves as the expanded free downtown festival celebration before the night concert at the amphitheater. For Part B of their funding request, Clearwater Jazz Holiday proposes to produce their holiday experience concert events in Station Square Park as part of their continuing Clearwater Jazz Holiday Music Series, which will take place on November 25th and also on December 2nd. This event is a ticketed cost for the series, with tickets being pre-sold through Clearwater Jazz Holiday, with the proceeds benefiting the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. The marketing cost for this event is $1,500. And the city's fees for this event is $2,000 based on their operating budget. With that, the applicant is requesting $63,000 to fund their operations costs and insurance based on their grant request and their budget. Staff recommends funding both series for Part A and Part B, not to exceed an amount of $13,500, which will cover the marketing and city fees based on the Clearwater Jazz Holiday budget and also the current DDB funding policy. The request for Clearwater Jazz Holiday does align with the DDB board's current updated work plan to fund the production and marketing of various events. special events throughout the DDB district area, also increase awareness of downtown as a tourist destination, and also support the activation of Station Square. And pending board approval, Clearwater Jazz Holiday will complete a grant agreement that outlines the detail for each event, the marketing benefits to the DDB, and also the impact on the downtown area. One thing before I bring up Steve to go over his presentation and present his acts. His acts is above what staff recommends, and again, in front of you, you all have the budget. If you all as a board decide to fund more than what we are requesting as your, what we are recommending as your staff, I need for you all to be specific in terms of what you would like to fund. So as an example, if we say we want to do an additional $5,000, well, how would you like that $5,000 to be applied? So in looking at each budget, as we will have each grant requester's budget up in front of you, if there's a specific thing that you would like to fund, in addition and above our recommendation or amount, we need guidance and direction to us to be able to say we want to fund this, or we want to fund the entire thing, because you have the option to fund all, none, or a percentage of the grant request, or follow our recommendations. Okay? All right, with that, I'd like to call up Steve.
Are we still sticking to the 3-minute per presentation rule?
My understanding it was 5, but is it 3?
It was 3, but you can make it 5, it's up to you. But I think it's fair to let everybody know in advance what the rule is.
It looks like 5 is being requested, so if everybody's okay with that, we can go with 5 today.
And then citizens who comment thereafter are the 3.
Correct.
So with that, I'd like to call up Steve Weinberger, the president of Clearwater Jazz Holiday. Steve?
I'm back. Thank you, everybody. So we're asking you to support a new event, and that's important consideration. It's a new event that we think will have a very special impact to downtown. Timing has been a bit curious with respect to the submission of this event, because it coincided after weeks of investing time and kind of teeing up what this could look like with the recent changes that you all have made to your funding guidelines, literally within like the same week. So I apologize for that confusion, but I want you to have an appreciation for the timing created an issue for us. CRA encouraged us to nevertheless submit our request in the way we did because of the potential for impact that we believe it has on downtown. So thank you for the opportunity to consider what would be an exception to those guidelines. We understand that. Some other helpful background, we've been working separately with the City of Clearwater on the one hand, and the CRA on the other hand, to envision a way of best positioning Clearwater Jazz Holiday's return to the waterfront after the pandemic years and being displaced from Coachman Park. So as it relates to the City of Clearwater's support, that vision involves the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, again asking the city to co-sponsor Clearwater Jazz Holiday Music Festival proper, which takes place inside the amphitheater in the evenings. And it's the third weekend of every October. So this weekend, this year, those dates are Thursday through Sunday, October 19th through the 22nd, inside the amphitheater in the evening, roughly between 5 and 10:30 p.m. This request today does not relate to the evening festival directly. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. What we propose, as Howard had indicated, is 2 parts. Part A and Part B. I'm going to spend more time on Part A. The CRA has encouraged us to present both of these parts together now earlier in the year, in great part because of the planning and lead time that would be necessary to implement and properly market the event to give all of us the best value. So that's why we're here now in February doing this. The total request is for $63,000 when you combine Part A and Part B. Part A requests $53,000 to help launch a new event. A free daytime downtown celebration that would occur during the Jazz Holiday weekend on Saturday and Sunday. It would feature 18 performances in 3 locations. Part B requests $10,000 for 2 more Station Square Park concerts in November and December. And again, on the Part B, that's what I just reported on in the earlier thing, so I'm not going to spend much time about it. You know the success that we have had together with those events. Let me talk about the bigger ask here. As you have hopefully read from the funding request, our vision with you involves, in a sense, a kickstart idea. It's a free downtown celebration that would occur on Saturday and Sunday of Clearwater Jazz Holiday, 18 performances, 3 downtown locations. The idea is to create together a free flow of festival energy. It will draw visitors downtown during the day, and it also has the impact of encouraging the evening festival goers to come earlier to experience the free downtown celebration. There are 3 performance areas, as Howard was alluding to. Okay. Station Square Park, where we've had tremendous success. The Upper Plaza, which connects Cleveland Street to Coachman Park, is the second performance area. And the large green that Howard pointed out that was adjacent to the amphitheater on the waterfront. This is a new idea for us. We don't have the funding for it. We're here to partner with you to help us get this off the ground so we can demonstrate its viability in year 1 and hopefully year 2 and build the sponsorships that we think will be necessary to sustain it going forward. So we're here to ask you to help us partner with this event. We do believe in it, we're willing to invest in it, and we believe that with your help we can really make something special happen. We believe the impact to both the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation and to the Downtown Development Board is very strong for 4 main reasons. Marketing value is the first of those reasons. Visitors, the benefit to downtown merchants, and accessibility and diversity. So I'm going to touch on those and then I'll be done. Okay, marketing value. Our marketing campaigns, as you know or may suspect, are very comprehensive and occur all year promoting Jazz Holiday. Leading up to the event all year, our marketing with this event will highlight the downtown district by showcasing this free daytime downtown celebration in partnership with the Downtown Development Board as part of this 44-year festival celebration. Those marketing impressions create year-round value for the Downtown Development Board. With visitors, we have a proven track record of attracting thousands of...
I think you've been beeped out. Sorry.
Oh, that's beeped out. Can I have 30 seconds to just conclude and wrap it up?
Well, then we'd be going to 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
We're at 5:11.
What's that?
We're at 5:11 now.
We're at 5:11. So if you, one last sentence.
One last sentence, okay. So I want to emphasize the benefit to downtown merchants that we have exhibited with our other events would be huge as we draw people. And I know the concern about the green and the food, but the food will, in the evening shows, will be in the evening. So it's a great opportunity to touch point the attendees during the day with the downtown merchants and sell food and draw them up through Cleveland Street with these other performance areas. Thanks for your time. I know I went.
Thank you. No problem. Questions from the board?
So my understanding is, this is something new that you're trying, you haven't done this before, and you just come to the board and say, hey, I want to do this and support it.
That's
correct?
That's correct. I believe that the revitalization of the waterfront, now with this amphitheater and these other spaces, has really created an opportunity for us to showcase the entire downtown district. So for us, it's about finding creative ways with good partners like the DDB to help the Jazz Holiday Festival tradition grow and expand beyond just the waterfront. And I think this is a wonderful way to do it.
I have a question. Is that the total cost of the event? You mentioned that you don't have the funding.
No, and to be clear, when we're designing these strategies, it takes a village of partners just to produce Jazz Holiday proper. What our point is we see potential to help the foundation by expanding the festival in this way, and we're willing to invest in it, and we proposed a budget to do that. But without a partner helping us to get it started, we can't, in good faith, risk that money too. So our budget is beyond what we're asking for this event, and the success of it depends on partners like you to help us get it off the ground.
Okay, what is your budget?
Okay, Gary, if I could, I'd like to ask Gary Hallis, our operations manager, to come up to talk about the budget.
How you doing? Gary Hallis from the Clearwater Jazz Holiday. So the overall budget for an estimation for this brand new event, for the Part A, if you will, for the activation, the downtown activation, is $107,000. But that is not including any kind of city fees, which could also impact that and actually grow that cost. We are not sure of that right now. As Steve has mentioned, we are talking about, to the city, about what they'll be able to do with in-kind services, so we're not sure exactly yet, but that is our estimation of what it would cost for this downtown activation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
So, excuse me, this is for the October 21st and 22nd, correct?
Yes.
Correct. It's on
And
Saturday.
November 25th, those three events.
So Part A of the
Yeah,
ask,
Part A.
which deals with $53,000, the
Yeah.
ask of you deals with Saturday and Sunday, October 20th and
21 and 22.
21 and 22. Part B, which is Station Square Park concerts like we have been doing
Yeah.
together during the holiday time. And we're reducing that ask this year, which traditionally was 4 or more, to 2, in light of the other activity we're planning together.
Thank you.
I have a question. Are you going to be in Phillies Park anymore, or those days are over?
Well, we were grateful to have that opportunity, but we feel very confident that the festival will be taking place in October in Coachman Park again. The city has been adamant that it plans to open that park in the summer, and so by October, we should be rocking and rolling.
Okay, good. And then what would be your prediction on the number of people coming to downtown? Not so much the park, or what did you call it, the upper platform?
Upper Plaza in Cleveland
Upper
Street is part
Plaza.
of the expanded
So
celebration.
not counting the plaza, but actual downtown,
Yep,
what would
sure.
be your prediction of body?
And I think we did
people
include some
coming on
estimates
it?
in the funding request.
Yeah, we're looking at, obviously, for the night show back in the amphitheater, we're looking at, to fill that, about 8,000 on average. During the day, we're probably looking at 4 to 6, probably, to come
4
down
to
during
6.
the day.
For those 8 events downtown, about
For the-
6,000?
The 2 events during the day on Saturday and Sunday, the 21st and 22nd, as we're harkening back to the brand new, if you will, back to the beginning, back to the days of come down, bring a blanket, hang out.
Go back to your roots. Jazz Holiday, back to its roots.
Roots are good.
We think that particularly that element of what this is going to be really well received and embraced by the citizens and visitors. And so with a running start, we think that since we serve so many different diverse communities, we'll be able to tap into that base to come down and celebrate all the communities we serve around this expanded free daytime celebration, which I think will be really wonderful for downtown going forward.
Great. Any other questions?
So my understanding is that there will be in each one of those days would be 3 locations and 18 performances
So if you
per
picture,
day for each,
18 performances over the course of 2 days.
so it would be 9 performances.
so in each of the locations, 3 acts going at the same time.
Yeah.
So you have 3 on the green on a sort of a national kind of stage. You have the Upper Plaza stage. You have Station Square Park. 3 acts on Saturday, 3 acts on Sunday in each of the locations, same time. And the other design we have, since we support a lot of young musicians in the area through our Give Them a Stage program, was to strategically place them throughout Cleveland, all the way up through and past Station Square Park, as sort of a music at every turn, on every block kind of vibe, to really draw the visitors around and create that true festival atmosphere that we hope this could accomplish.
Fantastic. Yes, Ray?
So you're asking for 53,000 for A and 10,000 for B.
Yes, sir.
Any final questions? Thank you.
I'll just
Oh, wait.
reiterate my question that I think Ann has a
Ann
answer
has
to.
the answer to. Okay, good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring my calculator in case you ask me any math questions. Ann Lopez, Sierra Program Specialist, I have your answer. So last month, we allocated $278,396. Remember, before we did that, in your special event line item, you were already in the hole $80,000. With other items that we know will be coming forward later on this evening that are not special event related, My guesstimate that your balance for special event funding through the rest of this year is $161,000.
Okay, thank you. We're in a bit of a conundrum as a board. I have a comment I'd like to make. It looks like you have brought an entourage of supporting citizens. I don't see any protest signs, so that's good. And I'd be one of your biggest fans. So I love the festival. But just for a moment, if you could adopt the viewpoint of us up here with less than $200,000 to spend, I'm going to just read something here that I prepared this morning. I want to recognize that together the city employees, the citizens, tourist businesses, entrepreneurs, churches, schools, charitable organizations, and sports franchises have invested untold sums and time for the past 100 years creating our world-class beach and city. Since the early 70s, the DDB has been tasked to help bring more business and life to the downtown. Over the past 5 decades, the DDB has done a very good job of flowing property owners' tax dollars towards this end. With the citizens' recent agreement to finance the magnificent upgrades to Coachman Park and what my daughter likes to call Sunset Bluff, in just a few months, we will enter an entirely new era for downtown. Knowing the impact of those upgrades, the recent DDB work session and meetings that we had last month refined our goals, objectives, and funding policies. The DDB has a long history of supporting events, marketing, and programs. It has generously funded a large percentage of requests, if you look back historically, and Elise, I'm sure, could verify this, and helped fund big projects such as the Marina, Winter the Dolphin Exhibition, Blast Fridays, and even the pandemic-inspired Cleveland Street activities with Carolyn and Scott and crew. Our purpose has shifted recently to spreading out funding to more numbers of diversified requests. After administrative policy and fixed payments, we have approximately, well, you heard Ann, less than $200,000 available for funding these type of requests in our yearly budget. So we could basically write a check tonight and not show up a whole nother year is the situation. Every request I know of, past and current, are wonderful examples of great people, great organizations desiring to help the downtown. For me, this is my viewpoint, I can vote, but I can't make the motion. We would be setting a bad precedent by ignoring our new policies. Thus, I will be leaning in favor of the CRA staff, who are well thought out, all of the intricacies of our budgets and funding and future requests, et cetera, and I'm going to be leaning towards their recommendations. So, with that, yes?
Citizens' comments.
Yes, so thank you. I'd like to go to citizens' comments. Are there any citizens that would like to speak on this item?
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Scott Sousa, Clear Sky Restaurants and Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association. You haven't seen me very much lately. I've had some health issues and had to really step back from a lot of the things I've done. I feel badly because I feel like we've taken a step backwards in lots of ways downtown over the last year, and we're all figuring it out still after COVID. And, you know, the one thing that stands out, though, is, as I hope everybody understands, the park is not a magic wand that's going to fix downtown, right? It is part of the process, and it is necessary, and we're all excited about it and super enthusiastic about it. But until we have the hotel and the apartments, and until the landlords get their acts together and get the buildings straightened out and get retail businesses put in on the 400, 500, and 600 blocks, we're still 5, 6, 7 years away from that. With that said, I had two really important thoughts. Now, I have not been in on any discussions with Gary or Steve on any of their thoughts for jazz coming up. One, we know Clearwater Jazz is one of the threads of our existence in Clearwater. It's been here for years and years. With the park, it's just such a slam dunk with the amphitheater and all that. So yes, it is extremely, extremely important. Two, I want to thank them for their forethought on Station Square is going to be super important moving forward because people going to the park, we're going to have food trucks at the park feeding people. We need a venue, a way to get people between the park up and down the street as well. So for them to have that thought and care that, you know, they could just put all their eggs in one basket and say, hey, we're just going to the park, here we are, we'll do what we always did. But to really think about that is terrific. So thank you guys for thinking about that. I would actually think, and like I said, I was not in on this, but I think these should be two separate asks, not one together. Because the second one, Part B, the $10,000 one, I think it makes perfect sense. But it's almost like the DCMA having different events. They've got two separate events scheduled, so they should probably be two asks. And Schedule A is obviously the bigger one and costs a whole lot more money, and they're putting their fair share in as well. So, you know, my vote would be for as much as you can afford. I understand budgets, and it's difficult. But they're not you guys have been so generous with all the promotions and things going on downtown, but some of those are for for-profit groups that are not from Clearwater. So they're, you know, in the scheme of importance, they are way down the ladder compared to a group that's been here for, 40 years doing what they do. So
You realize when you say that, when you say they, you're talking about the DCMA being farther down the ladder.
Well, no, I'm talking about the beer fests and sangria fests that people come and ask for money but they're for-profit groups.
Right.
You know, that the money's not staying down. It's great because it brings some people downtown.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Downtown Development Board. Thank you for letting us all have the opportunity to speak. My name is Jay Polglaze, 522 Richards Avenue, Clearwater, Florida. As the former executive director of the Clearwater Downtown Partnership, a former member of the Downtown Development Board, and most recently a member of the Clearwater City Council, I strongly support and believe in the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation for both its community mission and, of course, the value, awareness, and contributions to economic development for the city of Clearwater, especially downtown Clearwater. They've been partnering with every component of the city of Clearwater for 45 years. Because of my experience, excuse me, I have a good appreciation, excuse me, I have a good appreciation for the decisions you make about events that can impact downtown. Over the course of 16 years serving the citizens of Clearwater, downtown growth and economic development were my primary focuses. I do know how difficult it can be to decide on the strategies that best advance downtown interests. My political life has been dedicated in great part to getting out in the community and bringing awareness to downtown. I've always had a vision that downtown Clearwater should, could, and will be every bit of venue as Clearwater Beach is. It is my strong belief that by investing in this special event, this first-time special event, this board has the ability to really support something special, especially this first year, as Imagine Clearwater becomes a reality for the citizens of Clearwater. I can't think of a better organization with history, credibility, and as the gentleman said, is a part of the fabric for the city of Clearwater, to partner with in this way to help showcase downtown Clearwater. I love the potential of this idea to attract visitors before the main festival starts, later in the evening, at a time frame others may not have opted for or even been able to come. I think it's a tremendous opportunity for downtown businesses. Jazz Holiday always finds creative ways to support downtown merchants around its events. And perhaps above all, here's an organization that has brought so much goodwill to our community and that serves so many diverse communities with beautiful music and, of course, the musical education component. If you can see it in your heart and pass the budget constraints, I think helping them make this successful is critical as we go forward for downtown. Let's help them get this off the ground. It's really an exciting idea for downtown Clearwater, and as it grows legs, I'm certain that Jazz Holiday will develop additional support and sponsors and keep the growth and momentum going for downtown. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
never spoken with a timer before. But I think 3 minutes will take a long time. So my name's Colin Hymanson. I live and work in Clearwater. I'm the general manager at Marine Max up on Highway 19. I also serve as the president of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. And, I'm in my professional capacity, I'm very interested in the downtown development and what it means with the waterfront. But, as I'm sitting here tonight, I had some prepared notes that I'm going to go completely off script because I have this vision that I think you all share for this vibrant landscape in downtown Clearwater. And I'm excited to see the bollards. When I drove here tonight, I looked and I see the tables and all the things happening in that space. And an event like we're talking about that we've got designed is going to really showcase what downtown Clearwater can look like. And it's going to bring a special energy. Even though it's only 2 days, the effect of that is going to be much longer. The amphitheater event is going to be a draw, a tourism draw. The downtown event is going to be a local draw. And people build habits quickly, right? So they visit downtown, they have a great experience. Just like me as a Clearwater resident, I'm going to go back to that restaurant I've never tried before that was probably too busy but had world-class music being performed that I saw for free. It's really a special opportunity, and I'd hate to see us miss the window that we can to make this a really great free event that's going to speak to the rich history that you'll hear about from other people about the decades that we've been doing this. Now being able to bring back a free element that's going to bring a different group of people to our vibrant space, I think it's an absolute win for the whole community. So.
Thank you.
And I left a minute for somebody else.
There you go. No carry forwards.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Donna Yarbrough, and I love Clearwater Jazz Holiday. I'm a long-term resident, and I was one of the first volunteers 43 years ago. I used to live 3 blocks from here on 500 North Osceola, and I used to walk to the park, and I've been involved in Clearwater Jazz all the years, and I've been to every one of them. So I love everything about it. I love the organization. I love the impact that it brings to our area and the fact that we give back all year round now, whereas prior, years ago, we used to have a 4-day festival and closed down. Actually, we started with 10 days, and then we went to 4. The music that we present is very, very special to me because I remember being so thrilled because of my background and my family with music that we actually could bring these big-name jazz and big band performers to Clearwater Jazz Holiday, and we've been doing that for the last 43 years. We have a special bond and history, and as you know, it is a signature event. I can't think of a better time for you to partner with us once again. The idea of increased accessibility is also important to me. As a matter of fact, over the years when we used to program all the music, we did that in-house. We always had in mind our diverse population. We knew that we were bringing people from all over the county and all over the area to be here to listen to diverse kinds of music. One of the things I think is important to point out is that prices are going to be escalating all the cost of the artist and the production. The simple fact is we may not be able to afford having paid events. So the free daytime idea, in a way, brings Jazz Holiday back to our roots. Blankets, lawn chairs, community, visitors, that's what we were all about for the last 43 years. Jazz Holiday is a special way of connecting all corners of our community. There are a lot of festivals that have great success at this, having different venues at different places in their city. So I think given a chance, the community will embrace this idea, and we thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to provide this support for Clearwater Jazz. I am Victor Lucas. I am the Vice President of Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, and I live at 2493 Hidden Pines Lane in Clearwater. I have supported Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation for years. I support the foundation because I believe in the economic impact that it has and it brings to the area, but it's also its cultural impact that it brings to our area. and that's equally important to me. Clearwater Jazz Holiday is a platform for connection. I have always been so impressed with the special way it brings so many aspects of our community together. The private sector, the public sector, other nonprofits, and diverse communities in our community. It serves lots of these constituents with a variety of programs throughout the year. In my opinion, this free daytime celebration downtown is going to be a really special deal. It's going to be a big deal. Think of all the communities touched by a jazz holiday and its programs, and envision all of those partners in all of their communities coming together to celebrate around this idea. Think about the beauty of jazz, too, and its power to bridge and blend cultures and communities. I hope you can see the potential and get behind this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Bob Childress. I'm a 54, almost 55-year resident of Pinellas County. I'm involved with the Jazz Holiday for the past 12 years, and I've sat in, not your seat exactly, but in that seat of making decisions and budgets and moving it around. And I will tell you that if I look to our neighbors to the north, they had merchants that got together and they put on a show called Wine's the Blues. And it started with nothing, and it ended up being this thing where people crawl around their downtown like ants, drinking and eating and spending and having a great time. And it's a wonderful event. They didn't have the power and the reputation of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday behind them. They did it from scratch. So I understand the idea of something new. It's always scary. Something new is always scary. But nothing risked, nothing gained. So I just wanted to comment to you, if you think about what you're spending, what that impact is on our community, we look at it through that microscope of today, but what will this be in 5, 10, 15 years from now? How will that impact what we're trying to accomplish with businesses going up and down Cleveland, further down, expanding that reach? I think the ROI is really the focus versus the immediate return, but I think you'll get a little bit of both. So I just wanted to come up and say thank you, for even hearing us out. Thank you for all the partnership. I am also past president. I would say I'm a man of few words, but everyone on this side would disagree with you, so I'm just going to keep it brief and succinct and just say, think about what Jazz Holiday has done. Started out as a group of people to get tax revenue for the betterment of the community through bed tax, right? Look where we're at today. Not saying we did it all. It's a partnership, and that partnership that we're here together asking for that. And this has legs. It has strength. It has people that hear the name Jazz Holiday and they come running. Executives from all around the Bay Area, actually all around the country, that volunteer their time, that fly in just to volunteer. And so this piece, and yes, it's a big ask, but it has the strength that these seeds in the future could really develop and bring us what we've all hoped for about being up here in the plaza, I think he's called it, as well as down below. And what has happened down below is nothing short of magical, and I think it would really come together, the two of them as one. And so I hope that you would go that direction, even with the inside of your new process, and kind of take those into consideration. We have neighbors that can do it. I know we can do it too. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Carolyn Bradham with the Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association. And I just wanted to say a few things. Lena, we used to have music like a jazz thing, right, with the Jazz Festival. And if I recall, it was like on a Friday night sometimes. And I'm here to tell you, I've been here 9 years now as a merchant, and that was always a very well-received event. There were people up and down that whole street, all the way down to Station Square, 500 block and 400 block. And they had musicians on every street corner, and it was just a magical time of bringing in that jazz festival. And I see that this thing that they're proposing kind of echoes what that thing did for us downtown, and I feel like it's already a kind of a proven model, and that it should definitely be considered and appreciated that it could bring that same thing back during the daytime, both those evenings. I think it would be a fantastic addition to what we're trying to accomplish in bringing more things, more guests downtown, and especially the fact that it's an unpaid event, that people can bring their families down, and especially exciting that we have something being proposed for Station Square. I've been down on that block now since September, and I just have to say that with the events that are being planned down there, it is having a very positive impact down for the 600 block and the 500 block, and they're still going up to the 400 block. So it definitely does make a big difference having these kind of activities, and the fact that I feel like there is a bit of a proven track record, and I've been able to participate with their jazz festivals in the Station Square Park the last 2 years during our pandemic little program that we put on. And the diversity that comes there, young and old, the musicians that they bring, the quality that they bring, it really helps in many, many different ways than we even think about or appreciate. But it really is bringing up, I think, the awareness of downtown Clearwater and what we have to offer, and that we are, yes, we are growing as a downtown, but we are definitely making some headway, and I'm very supportive of having this activity happen in downtown Clearwater.
Thank you. Elise, could you do me a favor? I have a question for you. For me, before we go to a vote, I think it's such a big ask. It's 30% of our available budget. I'd like to open up a little bit of a discussion amongst our board. For me, I would love nothing better than to walk down every single day of downtown and hear a saxophone player, or, I would love nothing more than that every single day. We're talking about 4 or 5 days out of 365. So my question to you as our council is, what type of precedent are we setting with this particular ask based on the policies we just created?
Actually, the only precedent you can set, I'm sorry, I left my voice on vacation. So the woman who tells you to speak up can't. As precedents are concerned, you can't bind next year's board. You just can't. So the only precedents you would be setting would be for this year, and that's going to be limited by your budget. So every board has the right to say yay or nay to what the prior board wanted.
Good.
Okay.
So it won't implement, or it won't impact this policy we've just created for the
policy
the
that
rest
you
of
created.
next year's asks.
If you're going to deviate from the policy you created, you are going to have to voice reasons.
Okay.
You're going to have to say why you're deviating and by how much you're deviating and what you are funding. You agreed that it was going to be, the policy is one ask per group, unlike the past where, DCMA could come up with several asks, or, people could come up with several asks. Your policy now is one ask per group. Your policy is up to 10 grand on marketing, and your policy is cover the city fees. If you are going to deviate from that policy, you need to say by how much and what you expect that deviation to cover. Okay? Your other part of the policy was your seed money. You're thinking of yourself as seed money. What are the things you are considering is this group going to be able to continue after your help is no longer available? What is their ability to get other sponsors in the future and to succeed without you continuing to support them?
Excellent.
Okay?
Does
that answer the question?
It answers mine, but I think Festus and then Caitlin have questions for you.
So is it one ask a year per group, or is it 2 asks a year?
You're right, it's 2 asks. Yes, 2 asks, thank you.
And then my other question is, why is this one ask, and why is this put in one ask? Why isn't it 2 separate asks? I think I missed that statement when Steve said it. There's a reason why it's just one ask?
Why is this 1 ask rather than 2 asks? Why did they combine A and B?
Yeah.
That's their right, I don't know. But it qualifies as 1 ask because they're asking one, you know. They could split up their ask.
Because this feels to me, as I think Scott said, that it feels like 2 separate asks to me.
Mhm.
So that's what it feels like.
Yeah, they've got 2 different events. They could do 2 different asks.
We can
Okay.
also approve one and ask another one to come back at the next meeting. We have options here, or combine them both.
Or you guys, if they are willing to allow you to do so, you can treat it as 2 separate asks.
Today.
Yeah.
Okay? So you don't have to move it to another meeting. You can ask them to treat it as 2 separate asks. If they agree, then that's up to you whether or not you want to do that. And you can, as always, you can approve all, part, none. Okay?
Yes, Caitlin?
I have a question and discussion.
Okay.
Question, sorry, Ann.
Thank you.
I understand the total value of the special event request today to be roughly 125.
Or all 4 requests that are coming forward?
I just did some quick napkin math.
I think it's more.
The napkin could be wrong.
Mine are always wrong.
Have what, 180,000 total?
161.
151?
61.
161.
8, 10.
You're in October?
Yeah.
Approximately. Okay, and then 161 in total, not including reserves.
Correct. That does not include what you have set aside in reserves.
And if I may proceed with my discussion?
Yes, please.
So I am in favor of using this as our first opportunity to exceed and as an exception to our policy that we implemented at the last meeting. Specifically, one of the considerations, as Steve indicated, is that at the time that they started this request was prior to our implementation of this policy. And so I think that there is, one of the factors would be the grandfathering into our prior policy, which I believe was up to a certain percentage, even though the request is technically coming in right now. Under our prior guidelines, this actually would have been much closer to within not being an exception, if that makes sense. So number one, I think grandfathering should be taken into consideration, even though technically it was for the first time presented today. Number two, I think that it does fulfill our goal of it being a Kickstarter, which sounds weird because we have Clearwater Jazz Holiday is obviously a very established partnership. But on the one hand, we have the benefit of the experience of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation and all of the work that's been done in the downtown, along with this being a brand new event that hasn't happened before. One of the things I find the most persuasive is years past when I was first starting on this board, one of the complaints I heard was through the fundraising request that Clearwater Jazz Holiday had done for the downtown party is that it didn't tie in the downtown. That's always been the concern I've heard from the Downtown Development Board about Clearwater Jazz Holiday is it's great people go to the green and then they just go back home. This, I think, is specifically targeted at addressing those concerns and trying to pull people into the downtown and really tap into the just tens of thousands of people who flood into Clearwater Jazz Holiday on a yearly basis. Number three, as you mentioned, this is a primarily volunteer-run organization, and you have people flying in from across the country on a yearly basis. I know this, I'm a part of Jazz Force, which is not the foundation, we're the operational volunteers, but I work with volunteers yearly who say, I will never miss Clearwater Jazz Holiday. I have done this, they have their buttons for decades that they have been doing this. So this is pulling in people not only from across the country, but then pulling people into downtown. And this specific event is targeted at pulling in people downtown who haven't come to downtown. and specifically then for the diversity and accessibility, I think is very important and why I would deviate from our prior policy or the policy we just implemented. This is an organization very focused on accessibility and diversity in music, as well as the groups that it's trying to impact. I think it pulls in members of population and really ties in all various ages, races, every sort of type of diversity, which we as a board have been really focused on trying to pull into the downtown area, and I think it effectively does that not only with the substance, but then also this type of event is specifically free to try and pull people in and really tie back to the roots of Clearwater Jazz Holiday. And then finally, I'll just really highlight the fifth reason why we should deviate would be really tying in Station Square. As we've seen from the last number of years, Clearwater Jazz Holiday and their requests in the Wonderlist series have very successfully pulled people into Station Square. And again, from the beginning of my tenure on this board, we've heard a lot of people complain about Station Square isn't activated itself. And I think that they have already done that, and this specific event, not only the Ask B, but also Ask A tries to truly engage Station Square in an effective way that ties in, again, the tens of thousands of people who are tied to it. So my suggestion would be to exceed the funding request limits. I'm happy to talk about specifics, but I figure people will want to be heard first.
Let's go around the board a little bit. Very valid points, although I can't quite agree on the Kickstarter thing after 43 years of being in business. But the rest of it, very good points. Anybody? Terry?
Yeah, these are just my concerns. The event isn't until October. This is February, and if we fund that, that leaves us only $98,000 to fund for the rest of the year. So those are my concerns.
Does that include the other asks that are coming tonight?
No.
No, just
No.
this.
Okay.
Leaves
I'll
us
come to you in a second, council member. Thank you.
So that's
Ray?
very similar. We were supposed to get as many different venues funded this year, and if we shoot it all at the beginning, what are we going to do in April and May? I mean,
Yeah, I think if we kind of break it into two separate asks, if Steve allows us to do that, to be able to at least allocate some more money to them. Because I know I've been a resident for 10 years here, and I understand how the impact of Jazz Holiday is here. So I think if we can break it into two, then we can allocate some more money for them.
I mean, at the end of the day, to
A
ask.
little louder, please.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
To ask equal the same amount of money, right?
No, one would be about 13, the other one would be 50 some odd thousand.
Yeah, but we go up to 63.
I think you're saying if we approve them both, it's the same.
So we haven't decided what
Correct.
Yeah.
one is yet. So.
Did you
I
ask?
think what he's saying is that we punt on the larger portion and fund one, and then.
No. I said we separated two different asks and treat them as two separate asks, and then we can fund obviously the first one at 10, and then we can decide the other one.
Later.
Which we can do within the motions that we'll be making shortly. Council member?
Yes, thank you. I'm asking the board for some patience because this is something I'm very passionate about. I just want to, I guess, focus on certain things. I would like to speak as a resident, as a parcel owner, property owner, so I contribute to this
I think
budget.
you're also representing the council today, so
Correct.
keep that in mind.
As well as a former member. I used to sit right there, president of the Merchants Association, vice chair of the CDP. In all of those roles, there was a question that was always being asked in the last 8 to 10 years, and that is, what is the identity of downtown Clearwater? Everybody knew St. Pete, everybody knew Dunedin, St. Pete. And that question was asked many, many times. And if finally it emerged quite organically that what makes downtown Clearwater special is its musical history, right? With the Rolling Stones, the Doors, with Jim Morrison, and Jazz Holiday. That was part of our identity. When you add the Imagine Clearwater Park along with the amphitheater, it solidifies that identity. I also put a lot of significance in organizations that adapt to an ever-changing environment. And COVID really was a rough punch for us. And I have to applaud the Jazz Festival because along with the DCMA, they responded quickly and swiftly to the environment. And they provided an event and work for artists that were not working at that time. And so they're the epitome of what I respect, which is I respect the past, but they're also evolving and responding to their environment. And so I would think that with an ending balance of $320,000 in December, which is more than 1 year's worth of coffers, that perhaps we should think of being more flexible and be responsive to what comes before you. And I think that this is an organization where if there's any exceptions, it should be this one.
Thank you. Well, as we pointed out, I think we have closer to 180,000 available for this type of ask, not 300.
161.
161, not 300.
Well, that's specific.
Second of all, can I ask you, since you're representing the city, do you know by chance how much the city is investing in this festival?
Not at this point.
Is it anything?
I would think so, but I'm not quite sure in what capacity. It hasn't been ironed out yet.
Do the people in charge of the budget have any idea how much the parks or the city is investing? Yes, sir.
Thank you. So the festival proper, we work with the city primarily through the Parks and Rec Department to craft what we call a co-sponsorship agreement. That process has changed a little bit in the past year, and there's been some confusion, quite frankly, because there's been some staff turnover within the city. So we're waiting and going through the process now for exactly how we will apply if we do it, how we've traditionally done it, or if we do it by presenting a co-sponsorship agreement. Our support from the city usually involves a financial contribution as well as in-kind city services.
So pre-pandemic, that's the way it was.
Well, even through the pandemic, remember we produced the event over at Baycare Ballpark.
So that was, okay.
Yeah, so where that process historically has typically kind of been brought to a head and played out later in the spring. So right now, we're learning about what the process will be this year and fully hope and expect that the city will continue, particularly with the challenges we're just coming out of, to continue to invest and in the first year back, not, help us be with a successful transition back. One of the things I will add is, as part of this request to this board, we didn't include any of the city support services because our discussions with Parks and Recreation were to look at whatever in-kind support they're going to be giving for the festival proper and expand those services to account for police, fire, EMS that will be necessary support for what we're proposing here. We're not asking the DDB to cover those things.
Sure.
We're hoping the city will.
So what would you guess, big guesstimate here, on the historic 43 years working with the city, what would be an average percentage of your budget that the city kicks in money or in kind?
Yeah, well,
30,
I'm
best
not,
guess.
right, I'm not prepared today with statistics on 43 years, but I can say in recent history, the cash contribution has been approximately $75,000.
Okay.
And then in-kind city support, which I can't quantify here for you today, for police, fire, EMS, and those necessary support services, their city staff, and sometimes other materials that are necessary to put the event on, but hopefully that gives you an idea of that portion.
So we're looking at maybe 20% of the total budget for this event, the city's contributing in one way or another?
You lost me on that.
75 plus, I'm just calculating quickly on what you just said about the police, fire, et cetera. So another, say, 50, 125 possibly, of your total budget for this event. That would be
Well, the organization's budget is significant.
just for this event.
Which the Jazz Holiday in the amphitheater, or this one we're talking about here?
Well, the week of Jazz Holiday.
Yeah, I can't.
Your total budget each year for this, the week of the holiday is roughly $2 million?
No. The organization budget's roughly be anywhere between $1.5 million to 1.7 this year, maybe higher. We haven't approved the budget yet for this year.
So fine, so they're kicking in roughly 5 to 10% for this.
I'll trust your math because I don't have those
It's a best
statistics
guess
here.
since the cameras are on. No calculator. Seems like about 10% to kick.
Mr. Kinzel, also that budget incorporates significant community give back of education programs and outreach. That's not festival specific budget.
Totally understood.
Because this is, I don't.
We normally don't ask, that's why I'm
Right,
asking.
and so I just don't want to confuse that there's that much money just allocated on the festival. Okay?
Right, understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So any other discussion points here? Shahab looks like he wants to say something.
It's the getting over the hump of, do we want to blow a large portion of the year's budget right now? And that's the tough part that we're going back and forth. Otherwise, there is interest. Otherwise, the discussion would be happening. The answer would be no, that's too much, come back later. So if we're discussing this, there is an interest.
Yeah.
Question is, how do we deal with it?
Anybody want to contribute to that before I ask for a motion? Yes, Caitlin.
So the one thing I'll highlight, even if we fund it absolutely, from my math, absolutely everything that was requested here today, which is approximately the $125,000, which we have the remaining requests, that leaves about $36,000 just, again, that's making a lot of assumptions about the rest of today. I do see that we have other line items, for instance, the business assistant grant line item, which has been historically, I think, underutilized, that to the extent that as we go forward through the year, we hopefully have the absolute wonderful problem where we have too many budget requests and we start to realize that we don't have sufficient funds to fund them. We have the opportunity to amend our budget to relocate line items that have been historically underutilized to the special events. So that's why I feel comfortable using this as an example to exceed the prior policy.
On those line items, would you include the Jolly Trolley to move that money over as well?
What I had specifically identified was the business assistant grant, which is line 28. Jolly Trolley is line 27.
Okay. But you're suggesting all those items could be options to help fund this huge ask?
Absolutely.
Okay. Estes, Ray, Terry, no? All right, well, I'm asking for a motion.
Mr. Bunker?
Yes.
No, I just was wondering if I can get a clarification, because I may have misheard or misunderstood some of the initial comments. I believe the request for this big ask was because this is the first time that they're going to be sponsoring this special event from Station Square down to the grassy knoll. Which I think is terrific. I can see that being incredibly successful, but it sounded like we're trying to prove this time that it's going to be worth it to the sponsors in future years to pick up the costs of this. If I can see the value of this, it seems like the sponsors should be able to chip in more to make this thing happen. And I don't know if there can be time along the year where more money can be raised from sponsors to make a smaller ask a little later.
I think this is a question directed for you.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize this enough. Jazz Holiday has just underwent the most challenging time in its history, with the festival being canceled in 2020 and us coming up with this ingenuity to kind of just keep it going and realigning corporate support around outreach, then going into being displaced and going into the ballpark with stringent pandemic protocols and a reduced audience. We're hurting. It takes a village every year to just assemble the mix of people to balance the budget. We're coming off of 2 years of losses, significant losses. And so cultivating our community of sponsors around it just to bring the festival back into a new, beautiful arena, but with new challenges, new partners with Ruth Eckerd Hall, new challenges to the bottom line. We're going to need every existing partner to pull off the big show. What we're trying to do is, amidst all of this, have some forethought into planting some seeds together to grow something organically like we did when we started the tradition back in 1980. And so, no, I don't think waiting a couple of months is going to attract more support for this, because all of our energies are going to be cultivating that just to get the momentum we had again from before the pandemic. We're going to need every ounce of those sponsors to do that. I think once we put this in motion and we begin to promote, because we will need the year to do it, part of the reason why we're here now is at the recommendation of the CRA. Come with both requests. If we want to have the best success, let's start promoting this now. DDB as a partner with Jazz Holiday, this expanded free downtown celebration, organically it may have the result you're saying. It may attract some, and that's great. But I think the big thing is to get it off the ground, and then hopefully next year we've had so much success with it that we're able to find stage sponsors for the different areas like Station Square and this and that. And believe me, I've been involved with this organization of a long time. We have some very passionate people, as you can see. We're going to do it.
Sure.
We're going to find that support, but we really need the help. In this first year back, please don't pull the rug out from us now after what we've just endured.
And how much did we provide last year, do you recall?
Gary will know. Is it six?
For the 4 events, it was
26,000?
26, yeah.
Okay, so we're asking 63 this year. I don't think we're going to be pulling the rug out.
I didn't mean it to come across that way. I just meant if you can help us in this year back make a successful transition and plant the seeds for what I think will happen, it would be appreciated.
Okay. Ray, you look like you want to say something or ask a question.
Well, who came up with the 13.5, our new policy?
The CRA, yeah.
The CRA did that.
Correct. And then I have the council members are both here, so maybe this is an opportunity to ask them a question to, I don't know the overall budget. I know the city has roughly $535 million in annual revenues, and the parks budget is around $40 million. Is there any possibility the Parks Department could carve out an extra portion as a sponsorship? I don't know. I'm just asking based on, our budget's much tinier in a dramatic fashion.
Well, you're asking for a consensus within the council.
No consensus. I'm just asking if it's a possibility.
A lot of things are possible, but we probably would not be able to have them now because of all the changes that are going on right now. But I can't speak for the rest of the council.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So, not to belabor the point I just made, but I think it's going to be a process this year. Through the talks that we've had early through Parks and Rec in the city, I think it is going to take a lot of time and energy to put back the existing support that was in place to have the festival. I think because of the impact to downtown, the idea was to try to partner with the DDB on getting this particular idea off the ground. I do feel fairly confident, though, with the city's support that I expect to happen, that the expanded city services will be a benefit to this, so that we didn't have to come in and make that part of it.
Okay, you spawned another question. I think the plan, once the park is open, is that the band shell is going to be run by Ruth Eckert Hall, correct?
That's correct.
And that there's going to be roughly 10 openings for city-run nights or events, something like that. Is that correct?
So I'm not the best suited to answer that question.
Well, I guess my question is actually, are you going to be working with Ruth Eckert Hall or the city for this event?
Okay, so both, depending on the co-sponsorship process agreement, but Ruth Eckert Hall as the new operator will be who we are directly working with. I don't know, and I don't think that we are one of the 10,
So you're more of a Ruth Eckert Hall, you're not one of the 10.
But I believe as part of the negotiations between Ruth Eckert Hall and the city, everyone recognizes the value, the community value of Jazz Holiday, and the spirit of that agreement, and maybe even to work together to make sure the third weekend of every October, they fit us in and work out a way for the tradition to continue.
It's to be determined based on the whole new park and everything else, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we know we've been told we can come in again in October 19th through the 22nd this year and produce our event, and we're working with the parties now to figure out what we look like, what are the new economic considerations to us, what are the changes, and so we're trying to work through all that now.
Thanks. Okay, you answered my question.
Thank you.
Do you have a
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So the businesses that they are from the Station Square in Cleveland, they are sponsoring this event? They are contributing also financially or no?
So for this event that we're presenting to you, Part A is a new event.
Yeah, but
Okay, so the new event is going to be funded by the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, and we are hoping the Downtown Development Board.
So no sponsors
so
from the
no
business.
sponsors
So-
from the different
so-
businesses that are in Cleveland.
So it's sort of like chicken and the egg. Once we know we have the ability and support to do this, we will hit the ground and try to find additional support as best we can. We're also doing the same thing for the main event, right? And that's the priority, because this relates to the main event. You know, it is a new idea, but it's successful because of the affiliation with the weekend, the Jazz Holiday Weekend. So we're going to put, every effort into assembling that mix of partners to produce Jazz Holiday and whatever we can do for this. I will tell you, on Part B of our ask for November and December, now that we've done it a few years, we have been able to sell tickets to that. That's a ticketed event, and we've also been able to generate some sponsors to help us cover the cost of that event too. I think the same thing will eventually happen to this event. I'm confident it will.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
If I make a suggestion, why don't we at least get a little bit of a motion on this? Let's discuss approving Part B, and then we can, once attention's off that, and take a look at the rehashing of Part A.
You read my mind. Would you like to make a motion?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Part B ask, and once we approve that and finish that, come back and revisit Part A, and I don't know, take a look at a
Is that
few
today,
other...
we're going to revisit it, or visit it next meeting?
No,
I think he
today,
means today.
tonight, we can see what other asks are and go through that, and if some we don't approve, maybe we go, hey, we take that and put it towards this. I don't know what would come out.
So your motion would be?
To move forward and approve the Part B of the ask.
For how much?
It's for the 10,000 plus the city fees.
Do I have a second?
Just to clarify, so that would be 12,000, because city fees are 2,000 in the budget?
I just rounded it to 3, I said 10K plus, so I guess it would be 10,000 plus city fees.
Howard, could you help us clarify the math, please?
Because technically the 10,000 includes the 2,000.
It does?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you all see the budget in front of you? It's on the screen. So if you go, so let me pull this down for Part B. So we're looking at Part B of the Clearwater Jazz budget. It's $2,000 for the city fees. And then it's $1,500 for the marketing. So in total, it would be $3,500 for the acts of Part A. And they were only asking $10,000 from you as a board. So $500 to cover the insurance costs, $1,000 for the restroom equipment and tables, another $1,000 for the sound and lighting, and then another $4,000 for the artist fees and services for the Part B request.
The total would be?
10,000.
Okay, well, I'd like to propose a motion to approve the 10,000 for this round of discussions.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Shahab, a second by Ray. I think we've had enough discussion, so
Yeah.
we will ask all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Right?
So now, Caitlin, I think, we can open it up for another motion on Part A right now, if somebody would like to.
So I would like to make a motion to approve Part A as requested, which is in the amount of the 53,000.
Do we have a second?
I'm willing to second it.
Is that a second? I didn't hear a second.
Question is how many are willing to,
Well, that comes later, after you.
tell me, test the water.
Yeah, no, there's none of that stuff
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I know it's a big ask, and these guys been around a long time. I would like to second that.
So we have a motion by Caitlin, which was exactly to approve the as-is for 50, say it again, please.
Yep, for the 53,000, and I'm identifying the 5 reasons I mentioned before as the reasons for exceeding our policy.
And a second by Shahab.
Keep in mind, you don't have to agree with it, and we can.
We're
go
coming to
through
that
it.
now. All in favor of Caitlin's motion? All opposed? Well, we have,
I abstain.
I heard the three. It was,
have to vote unless you have a conflict.
say again?
You
have to vote.
Unless you have a conflict.
So let's do that again. All in favor, please raise your hand. We have Shahab, Ray, Caitlin, and Festus. All opposed? Terry, myself,
Okay, and me.
and Caitlin. The ayes have it. Congratulations. But you're required to stay for the rest of the meeting. There's no running away. Okay, moving on. Let's just spend it all tonight so we don't have to come back.
Not sorry.
Howard, next item, please.
The next item is, I just want to pull up their
while he's looking up, I'd like to give you guys a vision of have you guys heard of Fringe? Fringe in Edinburgh, Scotland. It has gotten so big that any given time during that whole period, there is at least 1,000 venues happening every day. Some of them are free, some are charged. So if you have that kind of vision, you think with that, how do we move towards that? Hopefully this would be one of them. I don't know. Jazz is a very, very specific area. Now we have the park with more music. Hopefully this city of Clearwater could become most incredible musical town, plus the best beach in the world.
I thought you were going to say become Scottish.
No, that's too cold.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
I voted yes, but I wanted to say there'll be people we'll have to turn down that are going to be very worthwhile also.
Understood.
That's right.
Well,
Well, that's the way it works. Yes, Vicki?
Hi, good evening. Vicki Shire, CRA Special Events Coordinator. This item is to request approval of special event grant funding for the Women's Market produced by the Pinellas Girl Gang LLC in the amount not to exceed $7,260.50. The Women's Market, in celebration of Women's Month, it provides female entrepreneurs a space in the community to present unique crafts for purchase. The Women's Market is anticipated to host approximately 100 vendors on March 5th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Station Square Park and the 500-600 block of Cleveland Street. The event is anticipated to have approximately 300 attendees. The event will feature entertainment with music and a raffle to raise money for Empowerment, a nonprofit organization. The Pinellas Girl Gang Women's Market event costs $10,392. The Pinellas Girl Gang is seeking funding above the staff recommended amount to cover their operational costs and event insurance. The staff recommends funding the Pinellas Girl Gang grant request in the amount not to exceed $7,206.50 based on the DDB funding policy. Funding for this event will be used to support city fees in the amount of $1,310.50 and marketing expenses in the amount of $5,950. This event aligns with the DDB's current work plan to fund various special events in the DDB district and to increase awareness of downtown as a destination. Pending this approval, the Pinellas Girl Gang will complete a grant agreement that outlines the details of their event and marketing benefits for the DDB as part of their grant agreement. Funds for this grant are available in the marketing category line for the 2022-23 DDB budget. At this time, I'd like to invite the Pinellas Girl Gang to the podium. Casey and Jessica, they will be providing a report out of their Halloween event market and will answer any question regarding their current request. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Casey Gilger. And I'm Jessica Vegas. And we are formerly the Dunedin Girl Gang. We are now
Yes, we took everything that you guys said the last time into consideration, the suggestion of turning us into the Clearwater Girl Gang, but we decided to set our sights even bigger, and we are now the Pinellas Girl Gang, and we have a reach of so many more women.
At our last market for Halloween, which the Downtown Development Board was so kind to grant funding to, we had roughly 300 attendees.
So we got really, really lucky, and fortunately had Ryan French from Fox News come out, and he did a segment on us, and we're going to show you this right now. Hopefully it works.
Downtown Clearwater was home to a spooky-themed market yesterday afternoon, and it was all for a good cause.
Photojournalist Ryan French shows us a group of women are banding together to empower women business owners in Tampa Bay and beyond.
We are the Dunedin Girl Gang, and we are so happy that you are here. We have the Halloween Women's Market. This is all female-owned local businesses. So you're shopping small, you're shopping local, and you're shopping all female. The Dunedin Girl Gang was founded by 2 female business owners because we understand the struggle that comes with being a woman in business. As women, we're asked to do it all, and I think we deliver pretty well, but that can be pretty overwhelming for a lot of us.
You know, we're wives, we're partners, we're mothers, so as a business owner, you're basically working 24 hours a day. Getting together with other female business owners has just given us a sense of community, which I feel like is so, so, so important.
I will say that some of the best customers that you can have are the other female business owners in the area. They are the best hype women around. We are so happy to be able to give this space to the women business owners in our community.
My sister and I actually created our Instagram page, Butterfly Effect Clothing, in 2019 after tragically losing our sister. All our profits, we donate back in her memory. Coming down here, it was really hard, just like meeting people, but meeting Jess, who is one of the leaders of the Girl Gang, has made it super easy to branch out there and get our business out there and get it known.
This isn't just a collection of random women. We are friends. There is a sisterhood among us. We are all close. We're growing our tribe. So if maybe you've just moved here or you want to get into markets, this is the place to do it. We're not just about coming in and selling things and making money. We're building a community here.
And so the vendor fees from the event will be donated to Empowerment, which is a local nonprofit that provides support services for women.
So as you can see, there were a lot of highlights of downtown, and it made the news, which we were very excited about. That goes into our social media ad analytics. We did both Instagram and Facebook boosted posts to get people out to the event. Again, this is not entirely reflective of attendance. It's just the reach that it had for $100, which was our budget last time. We will be increasing that because we do see that this has benefit on both the Instagram side and on the Facebook side.
We had great vendor attendee feedback, as well as feedback from some of the business owners that did very well at our market. They were very happy. This one comment alone, from a vendor perspective, I can tell you it ran smoother than most. Again, great job, ladies, being able to provide a quality market. Our vendors mean everything to us, so our vendor experience and the quality of the market that we provide is very important to us.
And as you can see, for those that did respond to our feedback survey, they loved the location of downtown. We had a positive impact on downtown businesses. We were able to draw people downtown who haven't visited in a while or ever, and show them the charm of downtown and breaking any old stereotypes of the city that people may have had before, which also left a positive experience in their mind for both vendors and attendees to either sign up for other markets downtown or attend other events downtown.
This is a groundbreaking event. We don't know of any other markets that are specifically highlighting and promoting female-owned businesses. I mean, it was historic when we were just doing a small market with 30 vendors, and now we're up to 100. As we grow, so does the legacy of having our area's largest women's market, and we're so grateful to be in this historic moment with the city of Clearwater. This was truly a dream come true for us, and we thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
So that's that for Harlequin.
Thank you.
Are we okay to move into the ask for the next market?
Do you have any questions?
Or, yeah, any questions?
Any questions? No? Yeah, roll on in.
Great. So we wanted to highlight some, in preparation for our next market, show you guys just how successful it was, and why our ask is a little bit higher this time. We have a value in videography, photography, and just showcasing this event.
So we spoke a little bit, you guys talked before about Station Square Park and creating some buzz there. We had a flash mob. The entire place was filled with dancers. We are planning to do it again, but this time we're going to do it even bigger. We're hosting a sip and dance night where all of the vendors can come, network, and learn the dance so that when we have the flash mob, the entire street of Cleveland Street is going to erupt and dance. It's going to be pretty amazing.
We're excited about it. So you can see, as we highlighted, not only in the news segment, but here in photographs, how important it is that we make connections, and these people are showcasing their businesses in beautiful downtown. We just love the location and what we've been able to accomplish. We've grown just tremendously from that event. The photography budget for our March event has been increased for promotion for both Girl Gang and DDB and City of Clearwater. We do see that value in giving legitimacy. We can only hope to be around for as long as maybe Clearwater Jazz. This is International Women's Month is March, and so we're already bigger than our Halloween market. We have 96 confirmed vendors, and we are going to have, again, another flash mob and a raffle this time. So all of the businesses will be donating to the raffle. That will be going to Empowerment, which is, again, a Pinellas County nonprofit that's centered around women.
Yes, it's actually a Clearwater nonprofit. They center on helping women become entrepreneurs. There's a hygiene pantry, basically anything that a woman would like to do to improve her future, they take care of them. So a portion of our vendor fees goes to Empowerment, and then for the raffle basket, it is 100% of the profits will go to them. And so we have grown. We have really grown from when we first started. And event planning is not our full-time job. We are both small business owners full-time. She actually has an additional full-time job on top of this and her small business. So the quality of our market experience means everything. So to help with the tremendous workload, we will be outsourcing to other small business owners, whether that is in graphics, social media, promotion, flyers, all of it we are outsourcing to other female small businesses.
Which we're so excited to be able to do.
We will also be investing in more advertising with boosted posts, large and small flyers, press and magazine ads, and we ask that the city heavily promote us in this market as we want to share this event with every local that we can and drive in as much traffic as we can to beautiful downtown Clearwater.
That being said, our operational costs have also grown. This kind of was also in tandem with getting this market prepped prior to knowing your new policies. But we do want to make the markets affordable for the vendors. Again, a portion of that goes to our nonprofit, the other goes towards operational costs. But we are asking that DDB considers funding for event insurance, as that's a requirement for the city, and then also porta potties to ensure that we have all that we need to get this event rolling, since it is going to be larger. So that's our outside marketing and city permit fees ask.
Yes, it's important for us to have our vendor fees low because, we started this market to be able to give first-time vendors, women that are just maybe getting the idea of having a business, just to give them an affordable opportunity to get themselves out there, to make a name for themselves, and grow as businesswomen. It's very important to us.
So that's all we have. If you guys have any questions.
Well, you're definitely not the typical gang that we're used to. Any questions from the board members?
Yeah, what's the total amount you're asking for?
So, I have it up here. So, you have it?
So the total amount is, for their event costs are $10,392. The staff is recommending the $7,260.50, which is you guys, the policy between the city fees and the marketing fees. So they're technically asking for the event insurance, which is $331.50. That would be extra. And then the porta potties, which is $1,000, is what I was told you.
We're hoping to come in lower on that. That was just the high-end estimate that was given to us last time.
Any other questions?
No. So the total ask is going to be 7,260, correct?
No.
Plus the 300, I guess.
No, plus 1,300, so it's 8,560,
You're good?
Very good.
correct?
Yes. The total cost they're asking for is for their event, the cost is $10,390.
Yeah.
The staff is recommending the $7,260.50. The additional ask they're asking for that I have highlighted in green, I just want to make sure is $331.50 for the event insurance, and then the porta potties is $1,000. I just want to do that breakdown.
Yep, thanks.
How many folks came last time?
We're estimating about 300, and we're anticipating much more. We didn't have a very long period of time before we came to you guys last time to getting the market on full swing, so we have a good month to promote this.
We've already got grassroots promotions going, and I think we've already got at least an expected 300 without boosting a single post. Which
You're
we'll be
thinking
doing in the next
1,000 this year?
I think that we could get there. I think that we could, especially if we can get some press, because as soon as that news segment aired, our following just exploded. I mean, we got recognized on the street all over the place. Cool. It was pretty cool. So we had about, we wanted to go to about 92 vendors, and we filled that pretty quickly within weeks after opening up our vendor call.
Right. Each of our vendors has their own following. They all come out to see them. Plus, we have public, we're going to be doing news, print, social media to expand our reach outside of what's just in our grassroots organization. And that's where most of that money is going to go, is to promotions.
Do you have
can get those people.
Game member dues? Because we have a lot of women in the room here.
We don't. Not yet. We're still exercising those.
No, we like having it accessible for all women. We all go through different financial stresses in our lives as women and mothers, and we want it to just be a table that everyone can sit at.
Okay, great. Well, any other questions? No? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Citizen comments?
Thank you.
You're welcome. No citizen comments? Then I would request a motion. Yes, sir.
I move that we give them the $8,591 to cover the 7620 plus the toilet and plus the insurance.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Come on.
You're just jumping at all. We have
yes vote.
Yes, sir.
Everybody seconds it.
Well, we have a motion by Ray and a second. I'm going to swing it to Kiara if you don't mind. Share the. And Howard, did you want to contribute to
Yes,
this?
before you all vote, I just want to make sure, let me pull up their budget right quick for the event to make sure, one, if we're going to fund the event in total, to make sure that we're covering everything based off of what you all are recommending, because we need to make sure that we're able to support this event in totality. So the total project cost for this event is $8,592, and you said $8,500, right?
I said 8591, but
$8,591.
I'll throw the dollar in.
Well, I just want to make sure that we get it right.
We have witnesses. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, ladies.
And the basis for the deviation?
Say again?
The basis for the deviation on your policy?
The
We were
porta potty
lower.
and the insurance.
We're still below the.
We are lower.
Weren't we lower than the policy?
Your policy, your staff recommended, your basis from the deviation.
From the recommendation. Ray, would you like to expound
The porta
upon
potty
your
and the
deviation?
insurance.
What?
The porta potty and the insurance.
We wanted the city not to smell as bad.
Oh, my God.
There we go.
I think I'd like to add, this is the understanding that come next year, we may not fund this.
Because it's the second request.
Correct.
So the deviation, I don't know how to word that, Elise.
It's got to be the person who made the motion, you're the one who wanted the deviation.
The porta potty and the insurance.
Okay, good.
Porta potty $1,000, the insurance $331 and some change.
To make sure
The
they're,
reason for increasing
Why?
the amount
Why?
above,
Because they're gonna have
your
more
policy
people.
says 10,000, up to 10,000 for marketing and paying for city services. Your reason for deviation from your policy is? You guys got to give it thought. You have a policy in place, so you're deviating from that
Yeah,
policy.
but we just blew that policy out the window just
she
a
did,
little while
no,
ago.
but Caitlin had 5 points on why we deviated.
Oh, I see.
So,
We deviate because their potential of 1,000 is 3 times bigger than the last time.
very good.
And your second agrees to that deviation?
Do you agree to that?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Everyone who voted for it agrees to the deviation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For the next one, keep in mind, when you're going to deviate from your policy, please include the reason in your motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. This would be different than the standard deviation of a statistical analysis, just for the record.
For the record, honestly, it's all race cars, so.
4.4, is this going to be Vicki again?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Thank you, Elise. That helped actually clarify how we do this. Ray.
Yes, I won't be president of the United States.
Good evening, Vicki Shire, CRA Special Events Coordinator. This item is to request approval of special event grant funding for the Ukulele Festival produced by the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society in the amount not to exceed $10,835. The Ukulele Festival event on April 15th, 2023 will occur on Cleveland Street, the 400 and 600 blocks from noon to 9 p.m. Approximately 4,000 attendees are expected at this event. The event will feature free ukulele lessons, demonstrations, clinics for all ages and all levels of play. There will be free music performed by regional and national ukulele players throughout the city blocks and from the restaurants to encourage traffic to those local businesses. The event will also feature a concert at 7 p.m. at Peace Memorial Church featuring 2 nationally known artists, the Barn Kickers and the Apple Butter Express. The evening concert will benefit the City of Clearwater's free clinic and the Homeless Empowerment Program. The total cost of the Ukulele Festival is $29,556. The applicant's funding request of $19,556 will cover their operational, entertainment, and additional marketing expenses. Staff recommends funding the event in the amount not to exceed $10,835, which covers city fees of $835 and marketing expenses in the amount of $10,000 as outlined in the DDB's funding policy. The grant request will align with DDB's work plan to fund various special events in the DDB's district and increase awareness of downtown as a destination. Pending the DDB grant, the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society will complete a grant agreement that outlines the details of their events and the marketing benefits of the DDB as part of their grant agreement. The funds for this grant are available in the marketing category for the DDB's 2022-23 budget. At this time, I'd like to invite Robert Wild from the Ukulele Festival to the podium.
Move right away. Yeah, we're good.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. I'll move through the intro here mainly because I did a recap last year. I just thought there were maybe some more new members, but so I'll move very quickly through the recap and move into this year. The genesis of the idea for the festival was I'm a member of the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society. It's the largest such society in the world with 3,000 members, about 80% of whom are in Pinellas County. I had also the opportunity to work very closely with the DCMA
as a partner to generate traffic to the restaurant merchants. I've also done that in 4 other cities in Florida. So the idea of the festival was seeing both of these energetic groups was to meld both of their goals. The goal, obviously the DDB and the DCMA, generate thousands of people down to the district, gain identity for the district, and enhance the merchants' bottom lines. The goals of the Tampa Bay Ukulele Society are to educate, entertain, and to raise funds for other nonprofits. The T-Bus itself is a nonprofit. The way we did it was, of course, having familiarity with the district and having done this in other cities, we focused on inviting people to the district and to the restaurants with all the key phrases, free parking, the 400 or 500 block. We knew when they get down that they would appreciate the beauty of that instrument, particularly in an acoustic band setting. As a matter of fact, one of your city councilors, David Attenborough, on that Monday, after hearing it, he went and spent $400 on a ukulele. He's a guitar player. We were fortunate. We did a very robust advertising campaign in the Tampa Bay Times and also in Creative Loafing. So we hit both demographics. And one of our goals was to draw from Hillsborough County. Also, a chance meeting with a journalist from the Tampa Bay Times. I was able to tell them the real story of Clearwater, which fortunately they printed as opposed to what they normally write. So we were happy. And if you notice, everything is led by downtown Clearwater and the district. We had both TV shows. Again, the district was mentioned ad nauseum, and again, we're booked on both of them. Interestingly enough, they came to the event and to the pre-concert reception, which we very seldom do. We measured everything. We got endorsements not only from people outside the district, such as Pete and Shorty's, but from probably the most respected general manager and reliable in the district, who we miss greatly, Scott Souza, who estimated that most of the people he ended up chatting with, it was the first time in the district. They were excited. A lot of them were from Hillsborough. So empirically, we knew we succeeded. Right afterwards, we were approached immediately by Creative Loafing. They want to give us a 4-page cover to the newspaper, and they labeled it as their favorite event. And it hits this 25 to 45-year-old category of people that love music and like to go out and dine. Again, the key words, we've expanded this year to the 600 block, knowing that that's where we want the growth to happen. And also, we've expanded the hours from 12 to 9 p.m., again, at the behest of the restaurants. So we've added a few other things. We're going to emphasize, more importantly this year, the family fun. We're going to have things like a face painting booth right next to the 2 charities. That's kindly paid for by Michael at the Jolly Trolley. Also, again, we brought in one of the top 7 players in the country, a fellow named Jim Beloff, and we're working with a new program that the Tampa Bay Times has done called My TB Tickets, and this is 2 column inches of space, and the district is mentioned 4 times, so they are totally in tune with. The other thing is, we got approached by the 2 most popular radio stations in Florida, that being the Dove, WDUV 105.5, and the Eagle, that covers the audience from 40 to 65, and they're going to be doing a 2-week promotion exclusively for the Ukulele Festival in the district, and they're bringing down their van, which will be available for interviews and all during the day. This little schematic, I've heard the term, it takes a village. This just shows everywhere from the DDB, CRA to the Peace Memorial. It takes all of these people to make this happen, and if I could use a musical analogy, all those small boxes are the instruments, and DDB is the maestro. Again, kind of funny having to come up after this last discussion, asking for more allowance, but to do all of this, it's almost impossible to do with 10. We're looking for $3,500 to help with our marketing, but more importantly, for us to bring 10 artists down and the equipment to make them sound like they should. it's an additional, so we're looking for an additional 87.
How about we ask you some questions and you can
Okay, yes,
fill in the
yes,
gaps?
I'm
How
sorry.
about we do that? So,
was kinda
any
watching
board
you.
questions that might let him finish what he was saying there?
No, I like the 4,000 people.
The 4,000 people.
I like that.
Festus?
We think we can double it, actually.
Anybody
I
else?
like it even better.
You do understand, based on this, that we may not be able to fund it again? What are the plans?
We're hoping to be self-sustaining. Good question, I'm sorry.
So we're planning for that?
Yes, we're planning for that. I financed a lot of it last year. We have a lot of in-kind donations, and we are having sponsors for the concert that night, and we want to expand it. You know, we're bringing them in so that they can see the potential for it as a commercial opportunity. The double-edged sword with the district is, when you push the district, the minute you go outside to get a sponsor, particularly in Clearwater, they immediately say, we're not in the district. We had the Bank of Ozarks on the hook, and they closed the branch down on Court Street. But we're working to get, and we have skin in the game, because we believe in this and we believe in Clearwater.
Anyone else? Are you going to play us a song tonight?
Excuse me?
You bring your ukulele.
No, I've played for 4 years, and the reason I started doing this was I can't contribute musically, but I can contribute in this genre, so I did it. But we have wonderful artists, and we got inundated with phone calls from literally all over the world after last year.
Yeah.
They wanted to come in from Belgium, from Holland, so it's exciting.
Fantastic what you're doing. And by the way, I don't know if you all know, but they have the largest ukulele group in the world. In Tampa.
It's about 3,500 members now, and it's their whole life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And they're mostly in Pinellas. County.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Any citizen comments on this? Yes, Scott.
Excuse me, Scott Sousa, DCMA again. I've had the pleasure of being good friends with Rob for a couple of years now. And, you know, I alluded to earlier about some of the for-profit groups that have come in and done events, and it's good to do a 4-hour event and bring people down. He lives in Tampa. He has nothing to do with Clearwater, but loves what we have going on down here and has invested all this time and energy. I didn't, Rob, hear you actually mention that one of their charities is the Clearwater Free Clinic, which is near and dear to all of our hearts, I think, and is a great group. So, you know, in addition to bringing people downtown and all the excitement and a great venue for them to do it, we're helping our biggest local charity. So I just thought that was a key point. And they absolutely was the event that brought more people downtown last year than any other one I can think of. So
Thank you.
And they're from all over.
Thank you.
All over.
Any other citizens?
Hello, and thank you for your time. I'm Mike Helmstetter, Jolly Trolley Transportation, CEO. We've been servicing our community here for 40 years. We are a non-for-profit organization. A year ago, if you would ask me what a ukulele was, I had a little bit of knowledge of such. I tell you what, though, I went to that event last year, and I was absolutely blown away by the incredible talent that they have. And if you have not been there, I can't stress enough, you do yourself a favor and actually go. And I'd like to just share with you a thing or two that I actually saw firsthand. I saw the downtown area of the district as vibrant as I've ever seen it. The restaurants were packed. Matter of fact, the grouper at Clear Sky tasted better that night than ever before. But, you know, a couple of the reasons that we decided to support this as well, it's the other non-for-profits that this is serving, which is the same kind of missions and the same support that we also give to them. So for everything that Rob Wild has done for this event, for this city, 100% they have our support. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Oh, question for you. Is it Mike? How's the ghost tours going? Different subject, I know, but since he's here.
Well, thank you, actually. Our ghost tours actually hit world news over the holidays there last year. We started it in August. In the month of October, we were running 5-6 tours a day that were selling out. We were actually quite thrilled to be able to present a nice juicy check to our friends over here at the Historic Society as well for their participation and help. We currently are still running it 3-4 times every week, and we're selling out just about every night. It's been absolutely a real blessing here for the area. Our new sightseeing tour is going to be launching in March 1st, which is going to be...
But thank you. Thank you. It's rolling good. Thank you. My mistake for asking. We love the ghost tours. All right. Any other citizen comments? All right, then. I'd like to request a motion regarding the TBUS Ukulele Festival funding request. Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the grant funding for the Ukulele Festival in the amount of $10,835.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I didn't hear the amount.
$10,835.
Okay, so we have a full motion for the CRA recommended $10,835, and a second by Festus. And let's see, any other discussion on this item? Well, I have to ask, Ray.
I think it's a fun, puts a color in downtown.
And it brings people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also quality people.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, great. So all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item, 4.5. Is this Vicky?
I'm back. Hi, Vicki Shire, Sierra Special Events Coordinator. I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice tonight, so this is my last time up here, I promise. This item is to request approval of special event granting for the Salsa de Mayo at the District, produced by the Florida Best Promotions, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $13,000. The event will take place at the 500 and 600 blocks of Cleveland Street and Station Square Park on Sunday, May 6, 2023, from 6 p.m. until 11 p.m., with an expected attendance of approximately 5,000 attendees. Florida Best Promotions has successfully produced salsa events in the Bay Area for the past 10 years. Their last event produced in downtown Clearwater was Salsa in the District, the Mojito Festival, which brought over 2,000 attendees to downtown Clearwater. Salsa de Mayo at the District will feature 3 live music bands, 6 DJs, live entertainment, and salsa dance instructions open to the public for the free event. The total cost of Salsa de Mayo event is $49,000, with the applicant requesting $36,000 in total grant funding, with $33,000 in initial funding to cover its marketing costs and the live entertainment bands. The event will receive the city's co-sponsorship support from Parks and Recreation Department, valued at $3,000. Staff recommends funding the event in an amount not to exceed $13,000, which will cover additional city fees not sponsored by Parks and Rec, and marketing expenses as outlined in the DDB's funding policy. Florida's Best Production grant request aligns with the DDB's current work plan to fund various special events throughout the DDB district and increase awareness of downtown as a destination. Pending board approval, Florida Best Productions will complete a grant agreement that outlines the details of their event and the marketing benefits for the DDB as a part of their grant agreement. Funds for this grant are available in the marketing category line item for the DDB's 22-23 budget. And at this time, I'd like to invite Richard Del Rio from Florida's Best Promotions to the podium.
The budget.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Richard Del Rio with Florida Best Promotions. I thank you for allowing me to be here again. I don't have my PowerPoint with me today, but I do have information about the event and everything that's going on right here on our website. Here's a video from last October's event, which we believe was wildly successful. We've been doing it for quite some time, and moving to a new venue can be difficult, you know, specifically after the tough time we went through with the pandemic. And we got to a point where we were averaging 10,000 people twice a year in previous venues, and we started off that way, the same way we started off here in Clearwater. And so we look forward to to hopefully hosting this event here for many, many, many years to come. And that's it. You know, what's really unique about salsa, and I think I presented this to you guys before, is that it's a very diverse community. It appeals to the large Latin community that you have here in Clearwater, but salsa has crossed over, kind of like reggae music has, and it appeals to you know, a large population locally that are not Latinos as well. So we bring a very diverse crowd. We've developed a great partnership with one of the largest radio stations, Spanish radio stations in Tampa, which is 92.5 FM, and with our current following, we believe that the 5,000 mark is there for the taking, but that's not where we want to stop. We want this to grow to where we had it before, where we're doing this twice a year, and we're bringing 10,000 people into the downtown area, and we're very confident that we can grow to that, and we're confident that we can do that in a self-sustaining manner. The other thing that I would point out is that we do, part of our mission is to support the local merchants in the area, so we spend a lot of time going to the different businesses, developing relationships with them, and hosting parties afterwards. We like to do, dancers will not go home. You have to send them home. And that's what happened in October. We had downtown pizza, and we had tequilas full to capacity, and at the end of the night we had to shut the lights and say, go home, guys. So it's something we're passionate about doing. Salsa has been a very important part of my family. Met my wife doing salsa. My wife got into salsa after being diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma cancer, and got in salsa to kind of distract her. So salsa is very important to our family, and we have a passion to share it with everyone, and we love this venue. Downtown Clearwater is amazing. I didn't realize how amazing it was until I had an experience like I did in October. So,
well, Ray will sell you a new home if you want to move here.
Well, let's talk.
Commercial building too.
Oh, yeah. I have been talking with a lot of people. I'm very well known within the dance community. I used to teach myself salsa dancing. I don't teach myself anymore because I like to hire the community, people in the community to do that, and spread the love that way. But I know people who are interested in renting down here and starting salsa studio, salsa bachata, Latin dance studio down here. So
that would be fantastic. Any board questions?
Yeah, if we approve a portion, that's what being recommended based on our budget, how would that affect your production?
It would affect the production. We would have to scale back. The reason why we have upped the budget is we just think the timing is right for it. We had such success with it, and everyone is talking about it within the community, and which already is going to bring more people. So we want to step it up from a production standpoint. You know, we're talking about, you know, we had what size was that screen we had in Station Square Park? I think it was 30 feet wide. It was crazy. You know, we want to bring that back. We want to put another stage in that area. We charged last time to go into Station Square Park. We're not doing that this time, and I think that is going to help the event to be more successful. It was a little confusing with, you know, charging there and not charging out there. So that was one lesson we learned, and think that it's just, you know, traditionally it's always been a free event, and we want to get back to that. So we want to do that starting in May.
Perfect. Any other questions? Well, thank you for coming back and for the request. Any citizen comments? Yes, Carolyn?
I think she's offering free food for the.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, wow.
Hey, so I just wanted to put in my 2 cents for this thing. I had just moved down to my new place on the 600 block when they had this festival, and it was amazing. All of a sudden, the streets were packed. You couldn't walk up and down the streets, right? And I had customers coming into my market, and they were like staying for the party. And then all of a sudden, I was out on the street, and I saw all these local people out there. It wasn't just the Latin community, okay? So this is a fantastic opportunity. I really want to tell you, it created a very, very positive impact downtown. And we had a lot of our own locals down there, and the people were just having a blast. And watching all the dancing, it was fantastic. So I just want to let you know, the merchants are in full support of this activity.
Thank you. Any other citizens? Do I have a motion?
How much is he asking again?
13,000.
That would be a question.
I move that we give the 13,000.
What's that?
I move that we give the 13,000.
Okay,
Right, so I'll second it.
okay. So we have a motion by Ray for the 13,000 the CRA recommended, and a second by Shahab. Any further discussions on this item?
It leaves us 65,000.
Yeah, just like teenagers who blow the budget and see, learn a lesson.
Can I say that the 13,000 that you're recommending is less than what you did in October?
Would somebody like to respond to that?
Sure, more than happy. We spent quite a bit of time going over how much budget we have, what are the asks, and how many are we willing to support, different groups, organizations. And so we set up a parameter, and this is within the parameter. That's why. Has nothing to do with what you asked in last time, or come in many of our organizations who came to us from previous year, every year come back, ask for more, and we came back with the idea that we will start funding these with the idea that you understand we will not do this more than twice, so that way it help you to get going, and hopefully you'll succeed at it. And if you do, fantastic. If you don't, well then we grab another group and we basically fund and seed for a couple times so they can get on their feet and go forward. Did I explain it right?
Precisely.
What we discussed? That's why. And since you were here, you noticed we were blowing through our
I know.
year's budget.
We don't have much left.
I know.
That's right.
I really feel like we're missing an opportunity here. I think that this event has the potential to be a flagship event here, and
It certainly was, and you're right that it will be again. And as we talked, when I bumped into you last week or the other day, I could see 10,000 people salsaing around town. Maybe Caitlin could shed a little bit of light, because she had 5 great points on why we went full boat with the Jazz Festival and their 43 years here, and maybe she could give a perspective as
That was
to...
prior to our new policy.
What's that?
That was prior.
That was prior to our new policy.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why maybe, because there was a lot of conversation, so there was some reasoning why we went full boat with the Jazz ask, based on previous policies, et cetera. So she basically grandfathered them in, right, with the ask to something before. Unfortunately, you're year 2, not year 43.
right.
But we certainly hope you'll be here 43 years.
I hope so too.
And you'll move downtown.
I would like that too.
Okay, great. So let me call the question. All in favor of, aye.
Aye.
So congratulations. I know it's not exactly what you wanted, but there's something to get the ball rolling again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, moving on to old business. Miss Elise, how's your voice?
I think she found a portion of it.
Do you want to do a proxy?
Elise Windhurst, your attorney, not only the voice, but being called out of business, you know, it's just, all right. On September, I'm here regarding the DCMA grant that involved DCMA, Downtown Merchants Association, which I'll continue to call DCMA, hiring Catalyst of Tampa Bay, well, hang on, I'm going to get their name right, I'm sorry, Catalyst of Tampa Bay, Inc., to provide marketing services. So just as a recap, on September 15th, 2021, the DDB approved a grant request from the DCMA for up to $52 grand, 39 grand of which was to be used to contract with Catalyst to create an executive and execute a multi-channel marketing plan and campaign for businesses in the DDB district. The funding agreement for the grant was between the DDB and the DCMA. Catalyst was not a grantee and was not a party. Catalyst was hired by DCMA. Catalyst, the agreement began on October 1st, 2021 and ended on September 30th, 2022. It required a marketing plan, biweekly reports of progress, and biweekly or monthly invoices. Reports were to include events, advertising, public relations, mailers, promotions, and feedback suggestions from merchants. The contract between the DCMA and Catalyst was oral. They did not have a written contract. The DCMA authorized Catalyst to move forward on marketing services. Services benefiting the DDB district have been provided by Catalyst. There was no marketing plan submitted at the time, and all invoices with supporting reports were submitted on September 21st, 2022. There was not sufficient detail to support payment. Subsequently, Catalyst, and let me, excuse me. Subsequently, Catalyst provided a detailed accounting of services performed, an executive summary and job design that did outline the marketing plan that was actually implemented, and copies of promotional materials. You received the executive summary, you received the invoices, and you received the backup showing that the time was actually spent in time for this meeting. We've also received a letter from the president of the DCMA confirming that Catalyst completed the work required by their oral contract. After the fact, you all set a deadline at your last meeting as to when the documents could be submitted. After the fact, we also received this binder, which I'm going to be giving them. I did not provide it to you because we felt that the information already provided was sufficient, but I do want you to be aware we have this binder with copies of the promotional materials, the same information you already provided, and copies of the actual promotion materials. You all know that the year for payment of this has already passed, and a prior board cannot burden this board. However, the services were provided. They have been documented. If you all do decide that you do want to pay this $39,000 or any portion thereof, what we would need is a motion to bring it forward into this year and to accept as a substitute for the marketing plan and the monthly reports, the outline plans provided and the reports that have been given to you to date. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, we hashed this thoroughly last meeting.
So, No questions from the board. Any citizens would like to speak on this?
One last point. We were not the employer, the DDB was not the employer, the DCMA was the employer. The letter from the DCMA is what, we are not judging whether or not they fulfilled their contract with the DCMA. It's the DCMA's job to make that determination. The DCMA has said yes.
Okay, I do have a question. After today's asks and our policy flailing in the wind, we're bringing 39,000 from last year to this year. How will it impact the rest of this year's?
I do not believe that will decrease the $161 that we started out with for events.
When Member Jamo asked for those figures, I had already taken out the potential for this 39,000. So when I gave you a 161,000, that was assuming that knowing that this ask was going to be coming forward.
Okay, so but basically we're spending last year's request this year.
Rather you're bringing forward 39 grand less than you think you are,
Okay,
basically.
good,
If you're talking bad accounting, but real money.
excellent. Well, whoever did the binder, I want to hire for some of my book reports.
Oh, yeah. I need it.
Oh, good, then you're in charge. Okay, good. So any citizen comments? I would request a motion on this from someone.
It was a long motion, so I don't think I can say.
I will move that we will bring forward from last year 39,000 into this year, and since it doesn't affect 160.
Could I suggest a rephrasing?
Yes.
You certainly may.
Just so you know, the 39,000 has already been brought over. So when you did your budget amendments last month, it was including knowing that this was going to be coming forward. That money is already sitting in your line item. What you need to approve now is...
If you all want to approve payment, then I believe that the motion should state that you have agreed to accept the prior year's charge of $39,000 and waive the requirement that the marketing plan and Sandy's writing it down, that the marketing plan and the monthly reports be presented and accept the materials we have received in substitute for those.
I'm not intelligent enough to give a motion.
Do you agree to that motion?
Yes.
Is that your motion?
I agree to
And
that.
and the payment of $39,000?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And is there a second?
I move all that.
We have a second from Kiara.
Damn,
Good. Any board discussion on this?
We discussed this, just jog your memory, we talked about it, we said if it comes, it arrives, we will vote yes on it, so.
Since Scott's in the audience today and he hasn't been here in a while, can we blame him for all this
Yes,
confusion?
we can.
Somehow?
Now, he told me he.
Make a good fall guy.
Treating all you guys, not me.
Oh, okay,
for
fine.
dinners for the next
All
6
right.
months.
That's good.
Yeah?
Just kidding.
A free round of drinks at Clear Sky. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you have it. Yes?
Police has something to say, or attorney has something to say.
I want to assure the board that we are taking steps to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and that our contracts are going to have deadlines, and they're going to be told, you missed this deadline, you missed payment, so that we are sure that we do not have things carry forward the way this did. So we're putting safeguards in our own documents and our own requirements and built-in nags.
Good. And could
That
you,
sounds great.
since the cameras are rolling, could you discuss a little bit on these big asks, how it works, where we reimburse?
What we do, we do not, when someone gets a grant approved, we do not hand them money. They have to sign a contract and a grant agreement that sets out their responsibilities and our responsibilities. The last few paragraphs are obviously format, but the beginning is really important. It's fairly detailed. We very rarely give money up front. We are a reimbursement base, except in very unusual circumstances. we reimburse what they've already spent. So they have to show us what they spent, and show us how it fits what we approved, rather than trying to go back and collect money that we've already given them when they spent it or didn't spend it the way we had approved. What you all have talked about doing this year, in addition to that, what we used to do, is that if somebody, once an event is completed, they need to come back. A part of their contract requirement is going to be that they need to come back and they need to tell you, they need to give you a full budget, a full, the financial statement. They need to show not just how they spent your money, but how they spent money, all the money on the process. And that way you get a better idea of what organizations can carry on without you and what organizations need you desperately.
Perfect.
So, and what organizations probably shouldn't be repeated.
Okay.
So there will be final reports from now on, and in our contracts, we're going to be more specific about, we don't get this by such and such a date, we're not paying you.
Beautiful, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you.
Excellent. 5.2, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Ed. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the CRA. Close this out. And that's one too. So I'm coming to provide you an update on the storefront program. Last month on January 11, you as a board approved the storefront decoration program as part of your work plan under the marketing category. Since that time, we've identified 6 initial locations within the DDB footprint to be able to potentially place the artwork. In addition to that, this program, when we were discussing whether it's going to be 6 months to a year, we're looking at having a year-long program to be able to provide the storefront decorations. And from that, we want to be able to have the artwork be able to change places within 6 months. So whatever would be, say, closer towards the East Gateway at a 6-month interval time, then it would switch and come to downtown, and then vice versa. With the ending piece being a actual one-day, potentially 1 day or 2 day art exhibit where we can bring out the artists that completed the work and be able to have it showcased potentially in Station Square Park. So we're talking about a complete program from start to finish, not only having the artwork on display, giving them background and information about the artwork, but then also allowing the artists as a group or individuals be able to increase their profile by having this program be marketed throughout your district, as well as through the individuals that we were partnership to be able to bring this project forward, and then also the one-day art exhibit. In doing the investigation to develop, because we didn't necessarily set a budget or amount that we wanted to bring forward to fund this. So doing the investigation to develop the program, some things came up, and I did a call last week with Lena, as well as we met with the creative Pinellas. And things that were looked at was like potentially the repair and prep costs to be able to house the artwork. There's a lot of buildings that have not been occupied for well over a year. So in terms of trying to come in and be able to have the artwork displayed with the proper lighting, the proper background, the location might need to be prepped and prepared for that, as well as maintenance for that. Bringing a project manager on board, and the project manager, that person would be not only responsible for curating the art, but also managing the art piece throughout the course of this year-long program. And also, potentially as a place may become occupied, they would be responsible for relocating the art from the current place that it was to an additional place within the footprint, or potentially even combining the artwork, as well as making sure they are the point person, so any communication, discussion about the artwork, that would be the that would be the person that would be the point of contact for the program. In addition to that, like I said, the marketing, insurance for the artwork, and this is more of a reinsurance to the artist that supplies the artwork, to know that in the event that something would happen to it, they would be compensated, and also to take the burden off on a potential partnership with a property owner to have the artwork housed in its place, and then not necessarily be responsible for it in the event something would also happen. in addition to the installation and the de-installation of the artwork. So once it all gets set up, that's a fee that goes along with that. And then to be able to remove the artwork from out of the space, there's a fee. And the goal would be to leave the space in a better condition than what we found it. So after the research and discussion, coming forth to you as a board, because there is an axe with this, coming to you as a board to ask you to be able to approve $25,000 for the storefront program, and we would spend up to that amount. And with this, we would identify the project manager in terms of the timeline for us to move forward, identify a project manager to oversee the program, set a project timeline, connect with property owners, connect with the artists. And part of connecting with the artists, once it's approved and selected, which is what Kiara and I would work on, we would actually have them come in and do a presentation. So in doing that presentation, you'll know potentially who the artists are, what the artwork would be, and then also the location for this. That will be presented to you, and then from there we will move forward with installing the artwork in the sites. Like I say, this would be a year-long program.
We've already allocated the money, right?
No, we did not. We talked about it and discussed it. We were kind of maybe at a disconnect in terms of the amount of money that we would want to fund. But based off the research, for those $25,000 would be more than enough, and it's up to.
But you're not asking tonight for the 25?
Yes, I am.
You are.
We're asking you to allocate the money.
But I'm guessing we need a motion and all that jazz. Okay. Any board questions?
Well, we have 65,000 left for the rest of the
Leave us 41,904.
for the rest of the year.
Well, why don't we bump it to 65 for the yard and call it a day?
And then we'd be just done with all the marketing.
That's right.
The meetings will be quicker, I mean.
That's for sure. See you next year, right?
Right.
Any other questions from the board?
Question.
Yes.
Is there any reason we couldn't reallocate this from business assistant grants?
So you did not, Ann Lopez, area program specialist, at your meeting last month when we had talked about this and the board did not agree on it, what we actually did was moved that money into your future initiatives line. So if I had the approved budget from last year, you guys have a significant amount from different programs that we had recommended that the board wasn't comfortable at that time creating or allocating a specific amount to. So that's kind of sitting in your future lines initiatives. So what we are asking for today is for essentially approval to move the $25,000 from future line initiatives into the specific downtown storefront vacancy line item.
One question. So you said during the presentation there are going to be 6
Yes.
stores, and how many are vacant total?
How many vacant buildings do we have in the DDB footprint? I do.
No, in Cleveland.
On Cleveland Street, that would be a guess. I can't really tell you the official number. I'm not sure. I can follow back up with you to provide that.
Would 6 make a big difference?
That's why I was asking.
Is that what you're asking? Would 6 make a difference?
And the thought would be to have 3 in downtown and also 3 moving closer towards the East Gateway for your footprint. And the whole purpose of doing the program is that when you drive by a vacant storefront, you know that it's vacant. So when you fill that storefront with the artwork, it doesn't have the appearance of being vacant. So that's the overall purpose of the program that you all approved last month.
I like the idea of the art, but I would suggest to those about to make a motion that perhaps we push this to next meeting and have more of our financials really in order, including the line items that can be moved over and reallocated towards other things.
They claim they've already done that.
Well, there's other line items as well. Everything's up for grabs at this point. So we could be looking at reallocating everything based on, there's a very big demand for marketing events, obviously. And we've just spent a lot of money for 10 days worth of events out of 365? 10 days, I think, is that correct? 10 to 20 days tops. So we have other monies available from other items, so I would just maybe recommend that we push this. I'm not making the motion, but push it forward a month where we can get all the information and see what we can reallocate on our budget, because the citizens have been heard, they want more events. So perhaps we can move money around for that as well, but I certainly like art for 6 windows.
Well, when you think about your budget, we want to bring forth what you're talking about is doing a budget amendment. So in terms of being fiscally responsible, in most cases when you're running an organization or business, you don't necessarily do more than one, maybe possibly 2 budget amendments within the course of the year. So because we're kind of in the first quarter where we are with the budget, we can provide that information to y'all. We will provide it before we have the next meeting. But if we're going to do adjustment to the budgets, then that would be a budget amendment, and we would need to make sure that we have all the information to bring that forward. Going with the premise of that if we do this now, the goal would not be for us to do another budget amendment if we, say, as an example, deplete all the marketing funds, again, in another couple of months.
But
At
we
the end of the day, we have stuff budgeted.
But we would have that option.
Yes, at any point in time, you have an option. You can do a budget amendment every other month. Now, I would tell you that would be a little difficult to do in terms of trying to track the money, because we want to be consistent, but we also want to be fiscally responsible, because your budget is your lifeline. So if you're moving budget every month from one item to another item to compensate, then we're not fiscal.
Well, we're flexible with policies. We might as well be flexible with budgets. Yes?
Also, if you've asked them, Elise Winters, your attorney, you've asked them to explore certain programs for you, having the money in those line items while they explore it protects it from accidentally being allocated to events. Because right now you all are very event-oriented, but you're still talking about having the digital marketing business assistance grant, which would cut into the business assistance you were looking at. So having that money allocated, so you have to have a reason to move it, and when you have the reason to move it, you also have to hear the reason why it was there.
Yeah.
So we
The fact
could,
that you say we're putting this 25 aside for the art program is not necessarily approval for the art program. It gives them room to
move forward with
research it and move forward and know that the money's going to be there.
so we could repurpose this program in a way that combines it with recommendations from CRA and our attorney into how to reallocate budgetary funding that's left, if I said that clearly.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Can we change this particular item into, if somebody were to make a motion, so that we're asking to come back with a new budget recommendation based upon everything that's occurred today?
Well, the money for this program is there, so I don't want you guys to think or have the understanding that it's not there. It's sitting in the Future Downtown Initiative, so we allocated money for that. So you all do have the money there for that. If you're asking for an update based off of what was done tonight in terms of all the expenses, where you all stand, we will bring that forward to you at the next meeting. At that point in time, if you all decide, looking at your budget and what's been brought forward in terms of your current numbers, that you want to do a budget amendment, then that could be a discussion item that we have at next month's board meeting on the 1st.
I move that we just give the 25,000 and.
Say again?
I move that we do the 25,000 and put it away for this program.
For the art program?
Yes.
Do I have a second? Do I have a different motion?
I move to move this to next month's meeting so we can research it and discuss it.
Do we have a second? That's not really a motion, is it?
No, waiting to see you hear about it later is not.
Okay, good. So
you all are basically tabling it for the next meeting, is what you're
we have
doing.
agreement on tabling it to the next meeting with more information, including budgetary options.
So just so I get all of my numbers in a row for when I bring this forward for you guys, because I figure I will be. You want me to bring you an updated budget that shows all of the numbers, including what you have approved tonight thus far, as well as what you have in your future downtown initiatives and the grants that the DDB has approved to do, so that way you can reallocate that money in the downtown initiatives line to.
We may reallocate it.
Right.
I'll just take a look at it.
We want our options.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sounds good.
perfect.
Perfect.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, everybody agreed? Excellent.
Yes.
Ann, are you substituting for 5.3?
I'm not. I'm going to give that to Howard.
Okay, good.
All right, so
Have
for
the name
CRA,
tag.
for CRA updates, again, Howard Smith, been Assistant Administrator for the CRA. We have two updates for you as a board. The first one is going to be the AR project, the Augmented Reality Project. The CRA has partnered with USF, 3D Labs. The CRA will launch a new AR tour, which is called the ART Tour, ARTOURE, Clearwater for the AR experience. So there's going to be two events. One is going to be an unofficial opening that you all as a board will be invited to, and that's going to take place on Saturday, on March 9th. And then we're going to have the official opening. Let me give you all a... Maybe.
180, please.
180.
It's
Keep
upside
going.
down. There you go.
There we go.
Keep going, keep going.
Yep.
Up, you got it.
Got it? Okay. Let me give you all the visual. So the unofficial opening is going to be on March 9th. Like I said, we will invite you all as a board to that. And then on Saturday, March 11th, is going to be the official opening. USF will have a booth as part of the Market Marie event to be able to educate people about the app and then the four mural locations. So when you think about AR, this you'll be able to literally take your phone, hold it up to the artwork, and then the artwork will basically come to life in terms of a 3D format. The four locations that we have for the AR project, one is the Garden Avenue garage, so that mural that's on the wall that sits at Garden Avenue garage, that's one of the AR projects. And the title of that one is 100 Years Before J. Cole is the name of that, the title of the Garden Avenue garage is
Comunidad.
what she said, and that's the Spanish translation for community. The artwork that sits at 620 Jew Street, and the title of that project is 100 Years Before J. Cole. And then we have the two murals that sit at 701 Franklin Street, which is seen from Myrtle. So on the Myrtle facing side, we have the flowers, and that's called the Ikebani scene from, that's the Ikebani title for the flower work. And then the one with the alligator that faces the Pinella Trail, that's title is After a While. So all four of those will actually be part of the AR program. Okay? And then our second CRA update, I'm excited to share with you that the CRA, primarily working with Vicki and other city departments, is creating what's called the living culture. The living culture, and this is for the city to celebrate the values of the beauty and cultural diversity for all attendees to embrace living together in harmony. The first series of this multi-series event will be the Taste of Ethnicity. This is a cultural event is to commemorate the World Diversity Day. This event will feature various cultural cuisines offerings, amazing performances, and a world of art display with other vendors from everyone to be able to explore and enjoy. This event is going to take place on Saturday, May 20th from the hours of 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Station Square Park and also along the 500 and 600 blocks. For any of these events, if anybody would like to get additional information, they can go to the CRA website at downtownclearwater.com, or they can feel free to reach out to Vicki Schreier, and her telephone number is 727-562-4038. And those are the updates for the CRA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as the chair's report, item 6, go to downtownclearwater.com. We got a bunch of events obviously there that you can find out about. And I'd just like to recap a little bit. From my perspective, being on the board a few years now, there's been a major change with the Coachman Park coming. You can feel it in the air and the vibe and the asks and everything about it. And there's a change for our DDB. There's a direction to go back towards our roots of kickstarting. As Steve mentioned earlier, kickstarting companies, kickstarting event people are going to come back, move here, continuously be involved, but not financially fund them forever. That's going to be happening because we don't have a huge budget, and it goes fast, obviously. So just putting that out there as we want more and more and more people asking for our money, and so that we can help them get started so they can, like Market Marie, for example, great example. She's now expanded and doing fine on her own. So that's my comment, and then over to Shab for board members to be heard.
I think we've had a long night, and I'll defer to you.
Thank you. Good.
Me too, yes.
I'll just apologize for Ian for putting you on the spot for number questions. Great job. I should have thought of that beforehand, but thank you very much for jumping on that.
Not a problem.
Very productive night.
Yeah, great night.
All right, I'm just going to make it a little longer, so I do apologize. So first is that just to the people who come and ask for funds and for assistance, we have to question you. We have to challenge it. It's not because we have a lack of vision or we don't understand what's best for downtown. It's because we have budgetary concerns. So that's the reason why. So people shouldn't think we don't understand how to make downtown better. If we had $1 billion budget, trust me, we will do the best we can. So we do the best with what we have. And then the other parts, these are questions I'm going to pass to our council members. I've always talked about zoning and parking. 3 years ago, we had a zoning approval by Fort Pinellas and also by the county, and I've always asked about that. I think I asked then Matthew, who's no longer here with us, but I'd like to pass that question to both of the council members and also ask about parking. That's also one thing that's close to my heart. Now I live downtown. I look down at the former Copeland Park, and I know we're losing some parking. And I know that the parking report that was done 3 years ago, I can poke holes through that if you guys are willing to sit another 3 hours with me, but I'm sure you don't.
No.
But I'd like to ask that question to our council members, what's done about parking, what the changes, what improvements, what additions, and also to talk about the zoning, which they both know what I'm talking about.
Perhaps we could put those questions out to the CRA to go to the council and get feedback. Would that be a better place than opening a discussion on the round?
We can do that, but I just want to ask the two council members right here, so it's just, yeah.
Do you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
You can take it.
Okay, so your first concern was the zoning. You're talking about the density, the new density numbers that the county has put in place, and we, Clearwater, have not as of yet. This is something that I'm also very much interested in, and it is a conversation that I've had, especially in the last week and a half, and we are looking into it because it is something that I think would benefit downtown, increasing the density. I do not know how that went off right now. Over to you, Mark.
Good night.
Anyway, honestly, I do think it's a really good thing to revitalize downtown. It increases density. It will promote developers and investment, and also, of course, increase our tax base. So it's definitely something that I'm interested in, and I will follow up with the board next month. Hopefully I have an answer for that. Regarding the parking, again, is something I'm very much aware of. I was also part of the voice that always feels that there's a concern. I am, however, at least pleased that the Peace Memorial purchase has been completed, and we will be building roughly 500 spots on Osceola. So that will, address at least the immediate concern. But at least in my estimation, I think it's an ongoing concern that I can only speak for myself, I'm aware of. Mark, would you like to add anything?
No, I think you handled it well. I'll just say good night.
So, in closing, if the CRA could put those items on an agenda to get us a update, that's my request. Certainly coordinate with the council. Thank you. And at 8:13, meeting adjourned.